Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Today, we are once again gathered on the most watched show of this channel, um, and I am today indeed with none other than Mr. David Wood, who has also been occasionally a guest on this channel and on this show, and who also sometimes appears and gives his opinion. David, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, what's up? How's it going, everyone?
Good. It's fantastic. Everything is fantastic. So,
Everything is awesome.
do you know about this woman called Candace Owens?
Yeah, the woman you're obsessed with.
Me? What are you talking about?
We were talking about. Hey, David. Doesn't matter what time. Doesn't matter what day it is. Hey, P, how you doing? Hey, you heard about Candace Owens?
It is true. One day I called David in the middle of the night, and he was like, "What's happening?
What's going on, man?"
I said, "Hey, I just thought about something on Candace Owens." Yes, that's exactly what we do. That's what we do. So, we want to talk about different topics here today. One of those is the organization known as Hamas. That is a peace movement which on accident killed hundreds or over 1,000 Israelis on October 7, and then was caught in an unfair war by the very, very evil occupying Israeli forces, and is still peacefully killing and firing rockets. They made a statement today in which they once again sent a message to Muslims who are on the Hajj, who are on the pilgrimage, and sent them all kinds of Islamic messages and Islamic wordings, and once again explained their entire purpose for this war and the purpose for October 7. And you can probably already guess, David and everybody else, that what they indeed said was, we are fighting this war because we simply want to resist an oppressive system by the Zionist colonizers, and we just want a land in which we can provide equality and freedom for everybody, no matter what background and faith they are from. Do you think that's true, David?
Well, obviously.
Yeah, because everybody knows. Everybody knows, obviously, that Hamas is a peaceful peace organization that just wants nothing except, nothing except peace.
Oh my goodness, it's true.
What's true?
Someone posted in the chat picture of saying there's a picture of Suleiman Ahmed with David Duke. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Are they just calling someone David Duke? And I looked it up. Yeah, it's Suleiman Ahmed, Sneeko, and David Duke sitting down for an interview. They're not even trying to cover it up, man. This guy, I don't know what he is now. He was the Grand Wizard of the KKK.
Yeah, he was literally member of the, he was that's the leader position, right?
And what unites them? What unites them? Just Jews. That's it. That's all these guys have in common. David Ernest Duke is an American politician, white supremacist, anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist. There's your key, and former Grand Wizard of the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan.
Well. Who would have thought? Of course. So it says, watch this big interview is going down.
Yeah, I bet. His politics and writings are largely devoted to promoting conspiracy theories about Jews, such as Holocaust denial and Jewish control of academia, the press, and the financial system. In 2013, the Anti-Defamation League called Duke perhaps America's most well-known racist and anti-Semite. If he's more of an anti-Semite than Farrakhan, oh my goodness. And they sit down with, my goodness, you can't. This is one of these things where the wave is going to pass, and these guys are going to be stuck with this forever.
Isn't this disgusting? Stuff like this was unimaginable, actually, just probably a year or two ago. This has become increasingly normal over the last year, over the last half year or so. Now these two, this brown guy from Pakistan and this half black, half Latin American guy, sitting here together with one of the most well known, or one of the vilest uh, anti-Jewish conspiracy theorist, racist people out there who actually advocate for segregation and oppression, sitting there together just because they hate Jews so much, because they want to hate Jews together. That's what this is about. That's what they are here for. This is just sick, man. I really wonder what kind of conversations will come forth from this, and whether he will say some things that cross the line of what Elon thinks should be allowed on this platform. If he will advocate for, really segregational, oppressive policies, or maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's all just about how the Jews control the world and they're trying to destroy all of us and kill all of us and to eat our babies and drink our blood and make soup out of it or something like that. I don't know, but every single person on this photo here is just a completely disgusting piece of filth, I must say, honestly. So yeah, that's the truth. That's the reality of the situation. And of course, you can insult them, you can say all kinds of things about them. I would always love to get together and have discussions with these people, or actually debate these people in a proper environment to then expose how ridiculous their views actually are. But of course, I don't think that would ever happen. Now, this guy is just an idiot. Sneeko is just a complete imbecile. He's absolutely an imbecile. He doesn't even know what he's doing. He's stupid, incredibly stupid. This guy studied law, and nowadays spends his time putting out anti-Jewish, pro-Islamist propaganda and trying to use also Christians and trying to appeal to Christians while pushing his Islamist agenda. I don't know, man. This is getting wild. Situation's getting really, really wild. What do you expect from this, David?
Again, I think the wave is going to pass eventually, and the internet is forever, my friends. The internet is forever.
David Duke deserves respect. He's the OG. It's hilarious that you think he wouldn't turn on you as soon as your common enemy is gone. I respect David Duke. He's respected. About time.
Yes.
The good doctor.
But this tells you the kind of people who are following these guys now, right? When it's, wow, David Duke, so great. My goat.
Sneeko, in this guy's ideal world, with the history of his movement, you would be probably lynched and probably you would probably go to enslavement, otherwise killed, segregated, thrown in the trash, something like that. But yeah, sit together, do the whole Jews are bad thing until things turn around and hit you. So Hamas published on their official Telegram channel of the spokesperson of Hamas, which I'm following here because I just love following violent things. They published a message in Arabic this morning, June 15th, because Muslims are gathering on the pilgrimage in Mecca, and the original Arabic message is here. I can translate it here bit by bit with the auto translation. However, what I did was just to had it translated and put it together into a tweet where I laid it all out. But so this message here in Arabic, anyone who wants to verify the actual message can verify it here. This message basically literally says the following: Abu Ubaidah, the military spokesperson for the Al-Qassam brigades. That's Abu Ubaidah. We call upon the pilgrims of the sacred house of Allah to remember their brothers in Gaza and Palestine with sincere prayers in the holy places and during the rituals of the Hajj, and to keep Gaza, its patient people, and its fighters in mind during these great blessed times.
That should say based.
During these great based times. While the guests of Allah perform the Hajj pilgrimage, we fulfill the duty of Jihad against the usurping occupiers.
What's the duty of jihad? Running and hiding in tunnels?
Yes.
While men, women, and children who are civilians are up there getting interesting.
Yes. Powerful stuff. Hold up. Okay, got that. Let's just a second. Okay, so their duty is, of course, jihad. They're coming together and waging jihad against the usurping occupiers on behalf of the great Islamic Ummah. Now, this is very weird because in Western politics, among Western leftist supporters of the Palestinian cause of Hamas and all that, we always hear that this is all about oppression, about apartheid and colonization, and they just want freedom. They just want their own nation and all that. That's all this is about. They don't want anything bad. It's nothing bad at all. But then here they're making an announcement directly saying that they're fulfilling the duty of jihad on behalf of the great Islamic Ummah. If it is all about them wanting their little nation state, wanting freedom, wanting this and that, what does that have to do with the Ummah? What does it have to do with the Muslims everywhere? What does it have to do with the duty of jihad? What does any of that have to do with that stated goal, which, according to the leftist and ignorant people who support their cause, is their actual cause? It continues. The Al-Aqsa flood, which is what they name the operation, the terrorist attack on October 7, the Al-Aqsa flood was launched for the sake of the third holiest site in Islam. It's already quite obvious. I mean, it's in the name. And the rituals of Hajj are an opportunity to remind the Ummah of 2 billion Muslims of the reality of our struggle with our enemy who desecrates the pathway of the Messenger of Allah.
That's what they do.
And spreads corruption and Judaization every day. Now, David, what does Judaization have to do with just wanting freedom, just wanting to be left alone, just wanting to declare their own nation, just wanting to be a free country, and having Palestine, nothing to do with Islamism, of course. What does Judaization and desecrating the pathway of the Messenger of Allah have to do with any of that?
What are you talking about, man? It's Judaization. Judaization is going around all over the place, man.
Yeah.
And it desecrates the pathway of the Messenger of Allah. Remember, AP, for 5 seconds of your life, follow the reasoning of Surah 9, verses 28 to 33. You have the command, 929, to violently subjugate Jews and Christians. Next verse, the justification for fighting the Jews. They call Ezra the son of Allah. And then it says that we, Jews and Christians, try to extinguish the light of Allah with our mouths. It's with our speech. So Jews, according to the Quran, are trying to extinguish, or as they would put it, desecrate the pathway of the Messenger of Allah. They're trying to extinguish the light of Allah by constantly saying Ezra is the son of Allah. But the passage goes on to say that Allah will make sure that his light is not extinguished. How does he do this? By sending the Messenger of Allah to prevail it over all religion. So Muhammad is here to make Islam prevail over all religions, silencing the speech of those who try to, as they put it, desecrate the pathway of the Messenger of Allah. It's straight out of the Quran, son. Straight out of the Quran. Judaization is what stands in the way of the pathway of the messenger of Allah and desecrates it. Straight out of the Quran.
Man. So it's I mean, we talk about this all the time. We have been talking about this forever. We talk about how the Quran is directly offensive, is directly instructing Muslims to fight the Jews. So and the Christians as well. So some people who pretend to be or who claim to be Christians and who say, "Oh, we should unite with the Muslims right now because Jews bad." There are some who do that stuff. They should be aware that this is not just about Jews. It is about Jews and Christians among all the other enemies of Islam. This is Islam. This is the Islamic way of thinking and teaching and believing. It says in 9:28, "O you who have believed, indeed the polytheists are unclean, so let them not approach the Al-Masjid Al-Haram after this, their final year. And if you fear privation, Allah will enrich you from his bounty, if he wills. Indeed, Allah is knowing and wise." It then says, "Fight against those who do not believe in Allah or in the last day, and who do not consider unlawful what Allah and his messenger have made unlawful, and who do not adopt the religion of truth, that is Islam, from those who were given the scripture. Fight until they give the jizya, protection money, like the mafia, willingly while they are humbled." It further says in 9:30, so 9:29 is directly in a command to fight the Christians and Jews and the others among the people of the scripture who refuse to accept Islam. In 9:30, it then says the Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah, which of course no Jew has ever said. And the Christians say the Messiah is the son of Allah. That is their statement from their mouths. They imitate the saying of those who disbelieved before them. May Allah destroy them. How are they deluded? They have taken their scholars and monks as lords besides Allah, and also the Messiah, the son of Mary, and they were not commanded except to worship one God. There is no deity except him. Exalted is he above whatever they associate with him. They want to extinguish the light of Allah with their mouths, but Allah refuses except to perfect his light, although the disbelievers dislike it. So this is the Quran. This is the Quran's position on Jews and on Christians. And the Quran commands Muslims to fight the Jews and the Christians. And Hamas is right here, right now, simply once again reiterating what the Quran taught them, what Muslims already around the world believe, what they promise to each other, and so on. And it is a little bit irritating that people will not note, that people will not see this. People will not acknowledge that this is about Islam. That Islam is at the core of this conflict. That Islam is indeed actually at the very foundation and possibly the biggest factor why this entire conflict is ongoing in such a vile way. But people need to acknowledge it. If you sit there and you think that this is about land, about rights, about apartheid, about this and that, you are simply wrong. You are just wrong. You are absolutely wrong. Without question, you are wrong and ignorant. If you don't know that this is about Islam, that Hamas is fighting because of Islam, you are ignorant. It's as simple as that. This is why Muslims, when advocating against Israel, will not focus on Zionism. They will focus on Judaism and on Jews. This is why Hamas talks about Jews, not about Zionism. Of course, they do that in Arabic, not in English. Another instance is this chant here, which Muslims repeat whenever
which cracks me up.
Whenever they advocate against Jews, against Israel, they repeat this chant. They say Khaybar Khaybar ya Yehud, Jaish Muhammad Sufayud, which means Khaybar Khaybar, O Jews, the army of Muhammad will return. Which, David, what is this in reference to?
Well, this is in reference to Muhammad and his companions attacking the Jewish oasis at Khaybar, the Jewish settlement there, while the Jews are just going out to work. So Muslims like to remind Jews, hey, we came and conquered you. the hilarious part that always cracks me up is that this was the same battle where after they killed a bunch of Jews, a Jewish woman whose entire family had been slaughtered by Muslims offers to cook dinner for Muhammad and his companions. And Muhammad's like, duh, I do like some good mutton. Yeah, bring me some of that. And he ultimately died because of it. So she poisoned him, but his companion Bishr, died very quickly, turned green and died. Muhammad realizes something's not right here, spits out the food, says Gabriel warned him a little too late. It did some sort of internal damage to Muhammad. They said they could see it, leave it even later. They could see it in his mouth. So it somehow it messed him up internally. And then he was in constant agonizing pain until his death, like a dog. And so this is the battle that got Muhammad poisoned and killed, to the extent that Aisha said she never saw anyone in her entire life. She saw battles and everything else. She never saw anyone in as much agony as Muhammad. And you've got Muslims saying, hey, Jews, remember that time? Hey, all you Jews, remember that time at Khaybar when you poisoned our prophet and made him die like a dog? I just think it's like, are you stupid? Are you stupid bringing this up? This is the last thing you should ever bring up.
Yeah. Are you dumb, stupid, or dumb?
Huh?
Yeah. It reminds me always of this. Yeah.
Killer, one who has caused so much hardship and harm another innocent man, woman, or child. He died like a dog. He died like a coward.
Say that.
The world is now a much safer place.
You could make a parody of this about Muhammad. Yeah, totally. Man, oh man, oh man. But now listen to, of course, all of this is wrong, right? As soon as Hamas published this statement in which they told Muslims that they are fighting for Allah, for Jihad, for Islam, for the Ummah, for the Prophet Muhammad, and fighting because of Judaization, I immediately sent them a message and corrected them and said, no, you guys are wrong. You are wrong, Hamas. You're wrong. It's not about Islam. It's not about Judaization. It's actually all about freedom and oppression and apartheid and racism and just wanting to be free Palestine. They are still to respond to me on that. Not sure if they've seen it yet. Clearly, Hamas is wrong here about what their own intentions are. We should instead ask Brianna Joy Gray. Let's see what she says the intentions are.
Is this the chick?
Yeah, this is the chick
Who rolled her eyes?
Yeah, who rolled her eyes and who got fired by The Hill. And who was then immediately hosted by Candace Owens.
Candace, get it right.
Candace Owens,
Don't
sorry.
mispronounce people's names. It's insult.
Yeah.
So I think that we have to not talk about Arabs as though they're somehow constitutionally different than Danes. I don't know why we would essentialize populations in that way. We have to be open to the idea
Danes don't
that
do
the people.
October 7th?
Wait a minute. Muslims didn't do October 7th.
Not since the Vikings, to be
Gazans
fair.
didn't do October 7th. And if you're adopting the worldview that everyone in Gaza, the 2.3 million people, are responsible, then you are very much in line
That's
with
not what I said.
Netanyahu's right-wing government,
That's not
who
what I
thinks
said.
that and therefore thinks it's appropriate to violate international law by doing collective punishment on the population, literally starving them to death,
Fine.
having them on the brink
No,
of famine, killing.
This is so weird. How does she have a job? This is what Constantine started calling her a DEI Barbie after this whole issue.
That's
because
funny.
she started attacking him outside of the event. He was very, very nice to her. She started attacking him after this event, and then he just started calling her a DEI Barbie, which she perceived as totally racist, which it was not. It's not really. He's just saying that you only have the job because of different reasons, not because you actually contribute anything to the topic. But this is just look at this exchange. She's saying that Arabs, Muslims are not different from any other culture. He says, well, Danes didn't do October 7. And then she says, well, not all Muslims are responsible for October 7. This is the kind of stuff that we heard like 10 years ago from really dumb people.
Yeah, that's what we always got. That was the standard response. I've never once in my entire life heard anyone say, "All Muslims are responsible for this," and yet that was the claim anytime we bring it up. So here's a terrorist attack. A guy screaming Allahu Akbar and drops his manifesto while slaughtering unbelievers in the name of Allah. And then we say, "Oh, here's why he's doing it according to the Muslim sources." Oh, so you're saying all Muslims are Who said what?
Of course. That's what everyone says all the time.
And
I hear it all the time.
It's just yeah. So anyway, always constantly with some version of the straw man. And if you can never, and why would you come with a straw man? Because the appropriate way to respond, if we're wrong, is to go through the Muslim sources with us and show that attack is not justified. But you don't want to do that because we'd win. So you have to make things up.
And I don't even get it. It's like, on the one hand, she says Muslims and Arabs didn't do October 7 as if it was something bad, but then she also never acknowledges that October 7 is actually bad. So I don't even understand what her point is.
13,000 kids. There was a very passionate description
How
of the
many
graphic
seconds? Go,
reality of
Brianna,
October 7th at the
Brianna,
beginning of this. The
no,
answer is...
You're not answering my question.
I'll answer the question.
Go.
I'm sorry, I do feel like a lot of responses...
20 more seconds.
Okay.
20 more seconds. The solution, please. Go.
There has to be a one-state solution, which means that there cannot... When Hamas is talking about eliminating Israel, it's talking about not killing all of the Jews. It's about eliminating the idea.
Okay.
It's about...
Leave it there. We'll leave it there. Brianna, we'll leave it there.
It's about, let me just finish, sir. Can I just finish the sentence? It's about eliminating the idea of a Jewish state, ending a Jewish state, ending an ethno-national state, and having a state more like what we have in the United States of America.
If I
Did you hear that part? Did you hear the end of that?
Wait, AP. She's saying that what Hamas is fighting for, what Hamas is actually fighting for, is a state like the United States, where everyone just lives together, and the Jews and everyone else just get along fine, right? That's what Hamas is after.
Yeah.
Wait, that's why? Wait, so that's what they meant in their charter when they said that they're going to fight the Jews until the Jews are hiding behind rocks and trees, and the rocks and trees are saying, "Hey, there's a Jew hiding behind me, come kill him." They're just talking about wanting this great pluralistic nation.
Well, maybe they want to create a state like the United States, and then fight the Jews, you know, inside that state.
It's funny that guy just cracked up laughing instead.
Okay.
It's about...
leave it there. We'll leave it there. Brianna, we'll leave it there.
It's about... let me just finish, sir. Can I just finish the sentence? It's about eliminating the idea of a Jewish state, ending a Jewish state, ending an ethno-national state, and having a state more like what we have in the United States of America.
So she seriously claims that Hamas's goal is just to create a state like the one we have in America. So it's one thing to say something ridiculously stupid and which just makes me want to laugh at it and just makes me want to mock her. But the thing is, with what she's doing, she actually has influence. She actually has lots of people that are following her and taking her word. She's not just some random person. She has thousands of people following her. She has thousands of people agreeing with her, retweeting her, reposting her, and spreading her nonsense, her vile nonsense. So when she says something as stupid as this, it's not just something to laugh about, not just something to mock. It is actually something that is dangerous and that contributes further to deaths and to violence around the world, because she is denying the true nature of what Hamas is and denying the true nature of what Hamas is doing. And you're denying it and just depicting them as this innocent, nice group that just wants to create something like America is very much like supporting them when they go out and kill and massacre and rape people in their ambition to kill all the Jews. It's pretty much the same thing. Supporting them when they massacre people and denying that they are massacring people are very much the same thing, because in one case you are openly supporting what they're doing, in the other case you are giving them cover by denying what they're doing, and thereby helping them avoid the responsibilities that come with massacring, with murdering and raping a bunch of people and trying to kill the Jews. So it's not just something stupid that she's saying, it's something very, very vile that she's saying, that she's doing here. Possibly because she's being, I don't know, paid by certain parties, by certain governments. Or maybe because she's just absolutely incompetent. I don't know. Who knows? But here you have her. Here you can hear it again.
Not killing all of the Jews. It's about eliminating the idea.
Okay.
It's about.
Leave it there. We'll leave it there.
It's
Grant,
about,
we'll leave it there.
it's about, let me just finish, sir. Can I just finish the sentence? It's about eliminating the idea of a Jewish state, ending a Jewish state, ending an ethno-national state, and having a state more like what we have in the United States of America.
If I could,
She doesn't even believe in a two-state solution. She believes that Israel should be
Yeah.
destroyed.
Yeah,
And it should be
just take down this wall and have one big country where all these guys who elected Hamas to go and slaughter as many Jews as possible will all live together in peace and harmony.
Yeah.
So
This event where on October 7, where so many Israelis were killed and captured and mistreated, and much of the population, the majority of that population, still agrees that that was a good choice, still agrees that that was a good action.
Well, to be fair, they're only fighting for a pluralistic society where people of all faiths and ethnicities can live in peace and harmony together.
But of course, here Hamas says that their duty is that they're just on the duty of jihad and fighting on behalf of the great Islamic Ummah, and that this is the to counter, to fight the Judaization and the desecration of the pathway of the messenger of Allah. First off, I want to say one thing here, David. They're talking about Al-Aqsa, they're talking about Jerusalem, and they're talking about desecrating the pathway of the messenger of Allah. David, was Muhammad ever in Jerusalem?
In his imagination, possibly, if we even apply that story there, because you have a version of it in the Quran. It doesn't mention Muhammad as part of it, but later Muslims interpreted it that way. Even in the inscriptions that are there, there's no reference to this being the night journey. It's a bunch of quotations about like Jesus and so on. But yeah, but even if we give the Islamic story full credibility, Muhammad had some sort of vision while he's in bed where Allah sends him on that monster from the never-ending story, goes there. Muhammad's description of the entire area doesn't match up, so it doesn't look like he actually went there. But because Muhammad went there on a flying donkey monster, Muslims say this is our third holiest site and it belongs to us. And to that I say, I had a dream last night that I went to Mecca and it was mine.
Oh yeah, you did. You
Give
really?
it to me. Give it to me, or else
Wow, that's
I'll
impressive.
take it from you.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty good. Pretty good. So based on that, what we can say is what we can say is that Muhammad was never actually in Jerusalem. Muhammad never went to Jerusalem, unless you want to take his word that he was woken up at night and given this horse that flew him to Jerusalem and then to heaven. Unless you want to accept that as true. He also said that that when he came back after this long night journey, his bed was still warm, which means that he wasn't actually gone. He was there and the bed was still warm, or he peed the bed. We don't know.
He definitely peed the bed.
We
But I mean, think about the insanity of this, right? Imagine some guy claims to be a prophet and says, "I had a dream. I went to New York City, and then came back. You see, now New York City belongs to me."
Ooh.
That's insane and ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane and ridiculous. No one would ever take that seriously. The reason Muslims have Jerusalem is because they conquered it. That's it. They conquered it.
Yeah. Here's the issue, though. Let's compare Muhammad to you and to me. If this is an Islamic duty because of the whole pathway of the messenger of Allah, if somehow Jerusalem is connected to Muhammad because he had a dream and went there, then what about us? We actually did physically go to Jerusalem.
Yeah, we have more right to it than Muhammad.
Yeah, we were in Jerusalem.
I've
We
been on
walked
the Temple Mount multiple times. That's more
Yes.
than Muhammad.
I actually didn't go on the Temple Mount this time, but
didn't.
David did, and we spent several days in Jerusalem. in and around Jerusalem. So we were actually there. We walked around. We have been there for more often and much longer than Muhammad has been, which means that we now have the right to take Jerusalem. So get ready, dear Palestinian Authority and Israel, because we are coming to take it over.
We have photographic proof that we were there. What photographic proof do Muslims have? You have none.
There might be some photos of that. I don't know. I haven't seen any yet. Monkey Mike said, a prophet is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. This is not correct. I'm always early. AJ said, look at Suleiman Ahmed's tweet with David Duke. Yep.
Already shared it.
Abu Bakr Buff Daddy said, David Wood, 5 hours live stream last night. Today again? Yes. Some
No,
falafel
going for
sandwich
10.
in Soviet Russia. Cow chooses you. That's a good meme. Abu Bakr, David Wood, 5 hours. Cult Waraith said, Mike Winger did a 6-hour video on whether or not women should wear head coverings in church. Where is your comparable video on head coverings, David?
Mike Winger also did a 50-hour live stream on his Star Trek theories. Doesn't mean I have to do it. Mike Winger is not my pattern of conduct.
I disagree.
He's the opposite.
Whatever. David Wood, are you not jet lagged? No.
No.
I'm not. Cam said, we Hamas support Candace Owens, you see.
I'm sure they do.
Giovanni Garcia, hello, fellow Woodies. David Wood, congrats on the Gaines brother. Not sure what Gaines are talking about.
I think they're talking about one picture I shared. Someone was off to the side and said, it was at Speaker's Corner, and I was in my Quran shirt. Someone said, hey, I'm taking a picture. Can you flex your arm? And I said, well, not like I used to, but I can try. So I just flexed my arm, but everyone's like, oh, look how strong your arm is.
It's strong. It's strong. White Lily said, I look forward to your lives. I posted my first YouTube videos today. It's not the best of quality, but if I didn't start, I would never start. And I 10,000% believe God wants me to do this. Hopefully, as I go, quality will get better. I will check that out. I will actually check this out.
It'd be cool if everyone started making dope videos.
Yeah, if every single person who is watching right now started making videos, that would be good. That would be good. Let's see. Apostate of Allah. Oh, you do? You did make
Allah isn't as strong as Muslims think. That is a video there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll see. I'll check it out. Allah works out on a regular basis, though, so I'm not entirely sure what I claim. But yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out and share it.
Allah is very strong.
Yeah. Messianic Apostate Gaza was Egyptian territory between 1948 and 1967. Why doesn't Egypt not reincorporate Gaza as part of its territory? It would solve a lot of issues. You know that Israel actually had negotiations with Egypt to take control over Gaza again after it was taken from Egypt, and Egypt didn't accept it. Egypt didn't want it, and
you don't want responsibility for that place. Yeah. You definitely don't want to make it part of your country, because then you just got these guys as part of your population.
Yeah,
and guess what? There's a reason Muslim countries don't want to take in these guys. There's a reason. They understand something.
The given reason is, of course, that they don't want to be in charge of Gaza because they want Gaza. They want the Palestine to become a country. But do they really prefer it to be under Israeli rule than just taking it over and having it under Arab rule? It's quite obvious that Egypt doesn't want to deal with it because they had nothing but bad experiences with Gaza, nothing but bad experiences with the Palestinian population. Their soldiers were killed because of misbehavior of the Palestinian groups and all that. Never going to happen. Right. Let's look at this. Earlier I saw Memri TV shared a video of a children's cartoon in Yemen. So this is on Yemeni TV by the Houthis, shown to little kids. And it is a cartoon about, of course, Jews. Let's see.
أريد المعرفة عن أشد أعداء المسلمين مكرا وحقدا. هل تقصد اليهود؟ ومن غيرهم بهذه الصفات؟
This reminds me of Dragon Ball. It's just like that. Yeah.
Sneeko's favorite show. Sneeko and Suleiman, they wake up on Saturday mornings, eat Frosted Flakes, and watch this.
It's funny how they turn around like, Yahoo!
It's David Duke.
معرفة عن أشد أعداء المسلمين مكرا وحقدا. هل تقصد اليهود؟ ومن غيرهم بهذه الصفات؟
Who else would I be talking about? Of course the Jews.
What are you, stupid?
You idiots. I said the worst enemy of Muslims. Who else could it be? It's the Jews. Don't ask me.
نحن الآن في أوروبا في أواخر القرن ال19 وفي مدينة بودابست. لابد أن تعلموا أن العالم كان كله يكره اليهود.
You should know that the whole world hated the Jews. Hated the Jews.
ولا يتقبل العيش معهم حتى
And refused to live with them even in Europe.
في أوروبا لسوء أخلاقهم وغدرهم.
Because of their evil moral values and because they are treacherous. To people who are not familiar with Arab and Muslim culture, this might seem very, very extreme. It's not.
This is tame.
This is very normal.
This is average.
This is very, very normal. Throughout the Muslim world, especially the Arab Muslim world, it's very, very normal to just say stuff like this. Everybody hated Jews because Jews, you can't trust Jews. They're traitors. They're deceivers. You can never make a deal with them. They're evil, and everybody knows they're evil, and so on.
وخيانتهم واحتكارهم للسلع والبضائع في أوقات
And because they had a monopoly on products in times of need.
شدة فالجميع لا يستطيع العيش معهم
Nobody can coexist with them or accept them.
أو تقبلهم.
أريد المعرفة.
So yeah, this is one of the. I think somebody actually shared more of this earlier, but I actually went to that channel. I found their YouTube channel because it is shown here. It's like Sheba TV 2 or something like that. Sheba TV 2. Found their channel and went into the thing. It would be very interesting to actually have somebody review the whole video and translate all of it into English. When was that? I think it was not too long ago. So this is the. Oh yeah, here it is. Is this it? I think this is it, or it might be another one. This or another one over, on this channel. So can be translated fully to show to people the kind of messed up, vile things that these people are teaching their children. This is considered normal. This is considered normal. You don't get things like this about Muslims and Arabs in Israel on Jewish Hebrew TV. There you get messages of coexistence. This is what you get in the Muslim world about Jews. That nobody likes them, that everybody kicked them out because Jews are vile and treacherous.
And yet, if you posted this stuff about Muslims, you'd be banned from everything.
Yep. But Muslims can do it because they're the victim.
Mm-hmm.
They're the victim.
Yep. They're a quarter of the world's population, but they whine so much that they must be victims.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Abu Bakr al-Puftari said, might I humbly suggest that AP and Dawood offer to host Candace Owens on a tour of Israel? If dollars is an issue, please start a GoFundMe. I'd contribute. Yeah,
dollars would be an issue because we'd have to pay her $1,500 a minute for the entire trip. So unless Elon backs the trip, it ain't happening.
She said she went to Israel before, and then a rabbi told her that Muslims are only allowed to live in the Muslim quarter in Jerusalem.
Yeah, we should ask who this rabbi is, because
she concluded that there is obviously no equality and they're oppressing Muslims there because that's how they treat Muslims.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they keep them all locked up in this open air prison in East Jerusalem. I mean, in the old city of Jerusalem,
in the majority Muslim place.
Yep.
Fox McCloud, one of the biggest enemy to Catholic in America was the KKK. You can actually Google anti-Catholic propaganda. Yeah, the KKK was very big on there is a Protestant white nation, and that Catholicism is corruption and stuff. I'm speaking of them as if they are no longer around because they are pretty much gone. There's like a handful of KKK people around.
Yep. And they're meeting with Sneeko and Suleiman Ahmed.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he's bringing their handbook, the Quran. Remember that? The Quran?
They should. Do you actually have a copy of that?
Yeah, I do.
You do? Did you
Yeah,
ever
I
read
bought
it?
it. I bought it as a prop. It's like meeting rules and stuff like that. So it's not like it doesn't actually parallel the Quran. They just
Oh. So it's nothing of
it's just funny that they were aware of the Quran, and when they decided to name their book, they did it. They have a name for it when they take a word that starts with a K sound and they add the L sound to make it like clan.
Oh yeah.
So it's Quran.
So yeah, this is the Quran from Clan and Quran is the handbook of the Ku Klux Klan. Quran from Clan and Quran is the handbook of the Ku Klux Klan. Here, Quran, Knights of the Ku Klux Klan of Canada. The letters KL were often used at the beginning of words to delineate a clan association. Examples include Cloran, Conversation, Clavern, local branch or meeting place, Clavaliers, etc. Weirdos. Bunch of dummies.
Super witty guys.
So smart. Hey, let's take the Quran and call it Quran. Like you would do this as a parody, not as something serious.
Yeah.
Upper Pucker said, loved you guys. AP and Dawood. Too many of your followers, however, in the YouTube comments are calling Candace grifter. I hope that your followers are not so ignorant. I choose to dollar you guys, but you're not grifters. I don't understand the connection here. Upper Pucker.
Yeah, one person can be called a grifter. What's that got to do with us?
Yeah. I'm sorry, but if you want to say that you're supporting us, but you don't agree that Candace is a grifter, because here's a follow. Candace is not a grifter either. Grew up. Sorry, she is a grifter.
She seems like a grifter.
I sincerely believe that she is totally a grifter.
Mm-hmm.
Totally a grifter. She has no values. She is inconsistent. She has no spine in terms of standing by her position. She goes with whatever her political side will agree with. She panders to the specific parts of the population, specific movements, without even understanding what they actually believe in, what they actually propagate. We have seen it yesterday on Piers Morgan, for example. She goes there and talks about Israel, talks about genocide, about Palestine, talks about different things, about Christianity, about Judaism and all that, without understanding a single thing she talks about. If she actually had coherent political positions and knew what she was talking about and knew how to define them, knew how to explain them and defend them once confronted, I would say, okay, she seems to have a legitimate belief in these things. But if she sits there and she knows nothing, she always struggles to give a response when she's asked follow-up questions about things. And she has such strong opinions and always tries to appeal to these extreme parts of political movements. I would say she's a total grifter. Add to that, of course, that she creates a platform where you have to pay $1,500 per minute with a minimum of 15 minutes to talk to her. And she actually encourages people to do that, to pay that much money to just have a conversation with her as a fan. Who in the world does that? That's really messed up. Jack Imov, here's some jizya right in your face. This is very, 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 very disrespectful. Noam said, David, you see, I've told you I wouldn't donate to you over AP. This is proof. Also, we had a poll and only 56% have chosen the cow. That's good. That's good. There are better things to choose at. So Hamas declared that this is an Islamic fight, despite the professional opinion of Brianna Joy Gray, who, of course, correctly points out that Hamas doesn't actually want to fight and kill the Jews. They just want a proper state like the United States of America. Here is the Hamas covenant once again, the Hamas Charter of 1988. This is how Hamas started out. They disguised themselves as a charity movement and then eventually came out and formed a militant organization, a terrorist organization, put out their charter, and this charter is still being applied. Supposedly, there is a 2017 charter added to this, but that seems like pretty much an international publicity publication. Here you can see their actual values. You will see that they aim for the destruction of Israel, and they say here in Article 7 of the Charter, if the links have been distant from each other, and if obstacles placed by those who are the lackeys of Zionism in the way of the fight has obstructed the continuation of the struggle, the Islamic resistance movement aspires to the realization of Allah's promise, no matter how long that should take. And what is this promise? Let's see. The Prophet, Allah bless him and grant him salvation, has said, the day of judgment will not come about until Muslims fight the Jews. When the Jew will hide behind stones and trees, the stones and trees will say, O Muslim, O servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. Only the Karkat tree would not do that because it is one of the trees of the Jews. And it's directly taken from Muhammad's words.
The slogan of the Islamic resistance movement, Article 8. Allah is its target, the Prophet is its model, the Quran is its constitution, Jihad is its path, and death for the sake of Allah is the loftiest of its wishes. Yes, you definitely want to form a big giant state with tons of people who believe that death for the sake of Allah is the loftiest of your wishes.
Yes, yes. And they really have a problem with trees.
Well, trees be snitching.
Trees be snitching, bro. Our struggle against the Jews is very great and serious. Jews.
Our struggle for a single united state where everyone lives together in harmony.
Oh, yeah.
Muslim and Jew, Christian and atheist.
It's going to be so beautiful here. But the Jews will not be pleased with you, neither the Christians. Oh, wait, what? I thought they only have a problem with Jews. That's what the Nazis said. That's weird.
Don't worry. As soon as we're all one big state, it'll all work out.
Oh, yeah. The Jews will not be pleased with you, neither the Christians. Christians? What's happening? Until you follow their religion. Say the direction of Allah is the true direction. And so on. Let's continue. Let's look for more Jews here. In the face of the Jews' usurpation of Palestine, it is compulsory that the banner of Jihad be raised. And to do this requires the diffusion of Islamic consciousness among the masses, both on the regional, Arab, and Islamic levels. Sure seems like they just want to establish a state like America. Jews! The Jews conquered the Holy See. The Jews challenge Islam. Jews in the fight with the warmongering Jews. Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Here you have the most beautiful part here. In their covenant, Hamas also... Why do I lose the place when I zoom out? Oh, yeah. Article 32 deals with... something very interesting here, which is the protocols of the Elders of Zion. Now, there might be still some people out there in today's society who actually believe that there is something called the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is a secret document by the Jews, which explains their secret goals to take over the world and oppress people and so on. Those people are often very paranoid, sometimes mentally ill, sometimes for different reasons quite paranoid. However, these protocols of the Elders of Zion are a fabrication created in times of Imperial Russia in order to vilify Jews. I think the actual finding is that it was initially created as kind of like a satire or satirization of Jewish beliefs and ideas. And then, however, it was turned into a pseudo authentic document supposedly written by the Jews explaining their agenda to take over the world and destroy Europe and so on. It's complete nonsense. It is a ridiculously stupid conspiracy theory. It's worse than believing in a flat earth at this point, because it's so brutally debunked and so easily exposed to be fake beyond a reasonable doubt. Hamas presents the protocols of the Elders of Zion and says that after Palestine, the Zionists aspire to expand from the Nile to the Euphrates. When they will have digested the region they overtook, they will aspire to further expansion and so on. Their plan is embodied in the protocols of the Elders of Zion, and their present conduct is the best proof of what we are saying. Isn't this so ironic? David, between Israel and Hamas, who actually believes in creating a theocratic state and then expanding without limits?
I'm going to go with Hamas for $200,000, Alex. It's funny. It's everything they want to do. They accuse the Jews of doing, and then this is the reason we have to do it, because the Jews are going to do it if we don't.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they're talking here, but once again, about they were behind World War and they were able to destroy the Islamic Caliphate. Caliph. They do talk lengthily about the expansion and the mission of centralizing Islam once again in Jerusalem. We also have videos of them talking about wanting to establish a caliphate. I showed it on this channel now like 50,000 times, but Fatih Hamad, who is a spokesperson inside Gaza, who usually speaks only to the Arab-speaking Palestinian population, doesn't speak internationally. They deliberately use him only locally because he's very inflammatory. He has promised many, many times that the goal is to exterminate the Jews. Yes, exterminate the Jews, or cleanse the land of the Jews, and then to start a caliphate. In fact, you know what? I'm going to play it again. Just because we have people like this imbecile Brianna Joy who claims, oh no, they don't want to kill the Jews. They don't want to kill the Jews. All they want is just to establish a United States of America in Palestine and live in a pluralistic society together with the Jews, just like we do over here. That's what they want to do. That's all they want to do. Nobody wants to kill the Jews. What are you talking about? No, that's not true. It's simply not true. It's simply not true. Let's see.
في هذا اليوم وفي هذه التجليات بفضل الله سبحانه وتعالى لنتطلع إلى أمرين مهمين نحن قاب قوسين أو أدنى من.
We're looking forward to two things that are in sight.
أولاً هو.
The first is the cleansing of Palestine of the filth of the Jews. The first is the cleansing of Palestine of the filth of the Jews.
تنظيف فلسطين من دنس اليهود واستئصالهم بإذن الله.
And they're uprooting from it, Allah willing.
وهو قاب قوسين أو أدنى. 4 سنوات إخواننا 2022.
Of course, this was during the peaceful March of Return in 2018, which they now complain about and say, oh, Israel reacted violently to our attempts to just peacefully enter Israel and to cross the border, while, some of us were also, firing different things and throwing rocks and rolling burning tires into Israel, and that they were violent. All we wanted to do was just to peacefully enter Israel and just go and live there. This is the speech he was giving during that peaceful March of Return. Of course, this is 2018. He said within 4 years, by 2022, we will be rid of them. So this guy's idea, presented to the Palestinians, was that by 2022 they will have cleansed the land of the Jews. And bad news, it's 2024.
That could be the plot of something like Back to the Future Part 4. They're going to have to invent a time machine. You either got to blame COVID for the delay or invent a time machine, go back and do what you said you were going to do.
Yeah. Man.
Can you imagine though saying 4 years from now?
Yeah.
4 years from now, we'll be rid of them. They're massively more powerful than you.
I mean, who in the world actually thought that they could do this? Did he actually? He probably didn't believe this. He probably is just riling up people. And
It'd be
people are
one thing if he said 50 years from now or something like that. But you
Yeah,
say 4
yeah.
years from now, you're about to destroy your credibility.
To be fair, this was in 2018, and they had this plan of getting rid of all the Jews in the land in 4 years. But then, of course, COVID happened in 2020, wasn't it? 2020, COVID happened. So, of course, that really made things difficult. Lots of businesses struggled because of COVID. So it might be that COVID also impacted their plan.
The Jews spread COVID to stop us from annihilating them.
Yeah, see, COVID was a Jewish conspiracy to stop the extermination of Jews. And you can also find this written in the protocols of the elders of Zion, of course, where it will mention COVID explicitly, just reversed.
سنوات يا اخواننا 2022 بنكون خلصنا منهم. اما الامر الثاني وهو
The second thing is the establishment of the caliphate.
إقامة الخلافة بعد أن تتعافى
After the nation has been healed of its cancer, the Jews, the Yehud. He doesn't say Zionists, he says Jews.
الأمة من سرطانها وهو اليهود بإذن الله سبحانه وتعالى. أنه لا يعني أننا سائرون في مسيرة العودة السلمية، أننا تخلينا عن المسيرة.
See, there you go. Goal is to cleanse the Jews from the land and to then build a caliphate in Jerusalem. And a caliphate directly already implies that this is not a regional nation state. It implies that this is expansion. That's what a caliphate is. A caliphate is supposed to be a uniting Islamic leadership that is supposed to unite all Muslims, not just the local population, and it is supposed to expand. That is the duty of a caliphate. The caliph is supposed to be the leader of all Muslims. Yeah, alhamdulillah. So this is their goal. But Brianna, of course, tells us that this is all not true. And who am I supposed to believe about what Hamas actually wants? Brianna or Hamas?
Brianna.
Yeah, see?
Let me just finish eliminating Israel.
What if that guy laughing is? That's exactly how a Hamas guy would laugh. If they should have had a Hamas representative on stage to crack up laughing at her.
Eliminating.
Hey, you know who would have been awesome on this panel?
Who?
Masab, man. Masab Hassan
Yeah.
Youssef. Can you imagine him? And where did you get this? I was there. I know all these people. Maybe you had a falafel sandwich one day.
He would destroy them.
Hamas is talking about eliminating Israel. It's talking about not killing all of the Jews. It's about eliminating the idea. It's about
Leave it there. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there.
That's funny. That is exactly the correct response.
eliminating the idea of a Jewish state.
That is 100% the correct response. Just crack up laughing at her.
We have in the United States of America.
If I could
So
Here, and this is how things work in my head. And here in America, we have this ongoing problem of any person who thinks things work a certain way in her own head gets to tell the world that that's how things actually work. And we just keep doing this. We just keep doing this. Here's how it works in my head. And let me say that's how it works in the actual world.
And actually, what Hamas wants is not to have it the incorrect way here in America, where we don't have really equality, where people of color are treated differently, and there's white supremacy. No, when Hamas creates their own nation state, their own state where everybody is equal, they will have complete equality for everyone, including for the LGBTQ plus IA people, and also for men and women, and everyone will be treated very, very well. Unlike here in America, where people are oppressed and there's lots of racism going on. Kill me. Man. Here is the other hero.
Our country.
Why is this so low quality? What is wrong with people, man?
That's just how your live streams are. They're low quality.
It's true.
I think we can all agree. I'm not going to say it, but it seems like our country is being held hostage by Israel. Okay, I'm going to get.
Okay, I'm just going to play it from here, from the actual video. I'm not sure why I'm playing clips.
What we have coming up for you is Brianna Joy Gray. She's the former press secretary. I don't know if we're going to be able to have way through Congress.
All right,
all right, guys, happy Friday. Nothing too controversial today. Just one question. Is America a sovereign nation, or are we being controlled by Israel? I know that question someday is probably going to get me arrested. I know this anti-Semitism bill is making its way through Congress. And I don't know if we're going to be able to have free speech anymore. So let me get it all out while there's still time.
The Jews. It's our last chance. The Jews are stopping our freedom of speech. We're not allowed to speak anymore.
So we talked about this yesterday, how she's deliberately, or honestly,
we don't know.
In this case,
we don't know if it's deliberate. She could.
In this case, I think she just doesn't really. She doesn't know anything about the bill.
She could be too dumb.
Yeah.
She's
too dumb. She's very dumb. Yeah. So that's the thing.
Well, what we have coming up for you is Brianna Joy Gray. She's the former press secretary to Bernie Sanders, and she probably has some.
Wait a minute, really?
Wow.
I didn't know that. That explains everything.
That explains quite a bit. She heard it from Bernie.
Wait. Wait. I didn't even know that part of
Hamas just wants a state like ours.
After writing for the Intercept.
But communist.
I know that she worked for the Intercept, which is just I don't want to say anything. She started her political career as the national press secretary for the Bernie Sanders 2020 presidential campaign. She was the co-host of the Hill's web program Rising from September 2022 to June 7, 2024. Wow. All right. Now that makes sense. Now everything makes sense. Bernie Sanders.
Something to say about that question, because she was recently fired from the Hill. She claims it's because she criticized.
She was kicked off the Hill. Yeah.
Israel. Is Brianna just anti-Semitic?
Was it just to clarify? Was it because she criticized Israel, or was it because she rolled her eyes as someone was pointing out that Israeli women were raped?
Well, it was because she criticized Israel by rolling her eyes in the face of the relative, the sibling of a hostage, and also by suggesting that Israel killed its own citizens and Hamas is totally cool and all that. By which she was only just criticizing Israel, of course, and also making excuses for the killing of Israeli civilians and all of that, which is all just in essence criticism of Israel. Of course, what's the big deal?
She was recently fired from the Hill. She claims it's because she criticized Israel. Is Brianna just anti-Semitic? I'm going to let you decide, because I believe that you can decide when you hear people in their own words. That's what's coming up today on Candace.
Can people please stop? Can people please say it correctly?
What?
Not say anti-Semitic. It makes me cringe whenever people say anti-Semitic. Ew. What is this? Is this some song from... Oh my gosh. Is this that song? I don't know why, but there's a Kanye cover here in the music section.
I think we can all agree. I'm not going to say it, but it seems like our country is being held hostage by Israel. Okay, I'm going to get in so much trouble for that. I don't even care. It's.
Is she retarded? She just she already said that in the intro. Why is she saying this again? Just like 5 seconds.
The internet's forever, Candace. The internet's forever. You're stuck with all this stuff. Once the wave of acceptability passes, you're stuck with this.
I think we can all agree. I'm not going to say it, but it seems like our country is being held hostage by Israel. Okay, I'm going to get over that. I don't even care.
How so? Because a woman who's being told about the what? Wait, it was like the sister of one of the hostages or something, right? He's talking about the treatment of that the women experience, and this lady just rolls her eyes like, "Oh my goodness, would you shut up about this rape and torture stuff already? I'm not interested. It's dumb. What we need to focus on is how Hamas wants to build a single United State where everyone lives in peace and harmony." And so she rolls her eyes, and then that sends everyone into an uproar. And then her company says, "Oh my goodness, we can't have this lady representing us." And so this is proof. This is proof that Israel is holding the United States hostage, and that our freedom of speech is pretty much gone because of the Jews. Thank you, Candace. Thank you, Candace. Candace. So this is Candace, who's totally fine with human trafficking. Loves Andrew Tate and everything he does, defends him, ready to defend him to the death. Jews, not so much.
Well, at least she came up with the phrase "Blessed are the peacemakers," which is very good.
That is. She has a way with words.
Yeah.
Something's cracking. It's catalyzing. The conversation is moving because we are seeing people that are having their entire livelihoods destroyed for critiquing a foreign nation. That is an absurdity. You know what else is an absurdity? Think about this. In 2020, the United States government announced that it was considering banning the Chinese social media platform TikTok. That was upon a request from then President Donald Trump. He viewed TikTok as a national security threat. So he signed an executive order that same year banning TikTok in just 45 days if it was not sold. And guess what happened? That executive order got blocked. The app survived until the app got on the wrong side of Israel. You guys remember this after?
Of course, like everyone else, she also blames all of this on Israel again, on the Jews.
October 7th, things on TikTok weren't trending in the pro-Israel way. In fact, it was very much trending in the pro-Palestinian way. And the ADL's John Greenblatt said, "Yeah, no, this is a problem and we have to deal with it." Let me jog your memory. Here's what he said.
Really have a TikTok problem, a Gen Z problem, that our community needs to put the same brains that gave us Taglit, the same brains that gave us all these other amazing innovations, need to put our energy toward this, like, fast. Because again, like, we've been chasing this left-right divide. It's the wrong game. The real game is the next generation.
Seems like really not.
So apparently, Trump agreed to ban TikTok because it was already then considered a security threat, and but then when the whole Israel thing jumped in, then it became a problem, and it became an issue, and she is now against it because Israel jumped in. So apparently, Israel jumps in and does things. But she is also only for these certain things when Israel is not involved. If Israel is involved, then she is against those things, which is very, very stupid.
Yeah. So the long-term criticism of TikTok is that basically tons and tons of Americans, especially young people, are having their data mined by China.
Yes.
And China is using the platform to get its way in the US because it can control the algorithm to give kids the kinds of content it wants them to have. And so the critics, I don't know if any of this is right. This was the discussion. The critics are arguing that this is a tool of mass manipulation. But if a Jew complains about something on TikTok, you see there, it's all the Jews. It's all the Jews doing.
The Jews.
And so TikTok is also being destroyed by the Jews.
Alhamdulillah. Yes.
Nice guy. He just needs to deal with this generational problem that is big trouble. Jewish, of having more allegiance to Israel, yeah, you're going to be in big trouble. Forget your First Amendment. If you even accuse someone who is Jewish of having more allegiance to Israel than they do to America, you are going to be in trouble.
Okay, let's back up here to what you have to say.
Past is a national problem that is TikTok, and boy, did he move fast. Yeah, the anti-Semitism bill, which is horrific, made its way through the House and it got passed somehow. Yeah, forget your First Amendment, guys. If you've got something to say about Israel, yeah, you're going to be in big trouble. Forget your First Amendment. If you
Wow.
even accuse
Have you been on Twitter lately?
who is Jewish of having more allegiance to Israel than they do to America, you are going to be in trouble.
I see that on Twitter like 700 times a day.
Yeah. But what she's saying is that the bill that was passed will make it so that you will be in trouble if you say these things in the future once this becomes law.
Wait. The bill we talked about, which is just
Yeah,
about how to identify discrimination based on anti-Semitism in schools.
Yeah,
And if the schools do not deal with the discrimination, and by the way, like
they lose funding, nothing else.
Think about how these things actually work in the real world, because there's how things work in the mind of someone like Candace Owens, which means there's like this room of Jews somewhere, and they decide, hey, someone on TikTok someone on TikTok criticized Israel. Let's get the platform banned by calling up the U.S. government. Congressman so-and-so, we need this banned instantly, or else we will withhold your shekels. Stuff like that,
I really do want to.
In reality, people are looking around on college campuses and going, "This is insane. We need to do something. We need to do something." And then they figure out things to do. So, believe it or not, Candace, some people just have a problem with a generation of young people deciding to declare war on Jews as their primary enemies, and then people say, "Okay, what steps can we take? How are their heads getting filled with this stuff?" You don't need the Jewish mastermind pulling the strings there.
Yeah. So she's lying, or she just doesn't know what she's talking about, but she's actually sitting here. And this is the thing. Like, I would just like to have a debate with her about that. I would just like to sit down with her and just talk to her about this bill and the claims that she's making, because she's making it look like there is this bill is going to be passed and or passed Congress and is going to become law, and then as a result of that, people will have their First Amendment rights taken away, and people will no longer be able to criticize Israel or to say certain things about Jews or about Israel, and people will be in trouble and possibly go to prison. If you claim to be a real, reliable source of information, and this is what you actually believe, then you need to immediately quit. Immediately quit your job as a journalist, as a commentator, and go and learn how to collect proper information, how to separate facts from falsehood, how to communicate things in a responsible way, because you are completely ignorant. If that is what you're saying, that is not what is happening. We talked about this. I don't want to talk about the same thing many times on different live streams, but that is not what is happening at all. And anyone who says that this is what's happening, you are very ignorant. And I would like to debate you on this and crush you on this. Such a law cannot be passed in America. It's not possible.
If you have any inclination as a Christian that you have a right to believe in the story of Jesus Christ, that is our doctrine, he's our Lord, he's our Savior, well, you better be very careful if you're going to talk about how the Jews played any sort of role in his persecution.
Well, what's going to happen, Candace?
Look at this.
What's going to happen if I sit here and quote the Bible about how Jesus had a Jewish trial because he kept ticking people off by the things he was saying and by criticizing and even mocking the religious leaders of his time, and they had a Jewish trial and sentenced him for blasphemy, but they actually had no power to carry out those penalties because they were under Roman rule, and so they hand him over to the Jews and complain to Caesar that this guy's claiming to be king and so on, because that would have upset the Romans. And then Jesus is executed. What part of that is going to get me thrown in prison, Candace? Which part of that?
She fails to see the whole issue of or fails to understand the history and the story and how things take place in the Bible, in the Gospels, in the New Testament, and she looks at it just the way that these groypers look at it, where they think that that the good guys are something separate from the bad guys who are Jews. That's not how things went down there. That's not how things went down in the New Testament. That's not how things went down in the Gospels. That's not how things went down in reality, the way they happened. Okay, everyone there was a Jew. They were all Jews. It wasn't Jews versus these other guys.
Wrong. The Romans weren't Jews.
Okay, fine.
In your face. AP exposed and humiliated.
Except for the Romans, both sides were Jewish. And any kind of disagreements or fights or whatever happened internally between Jews, not between the bad Jews and these good other guys. What were those other guys? What exactly were they if not Jews? Nothing. They were also Jews. This was an internal issue. Jews among themselves. Okay, it wasn't fighting against the evil Jews. That's not what went down. But anyway, aside from that, she is once again completely exploiting Christian sentiments for her own gain and for her own agenda.
Yeah, so the summary when someone says something like this, right? Always comes down to this. The same thing with Allah and the Quran and Muhammad and so on. What she is saying that this bill does and is going to do has no connection or correspondence to reality, right? That you can read the bill. It's pretty straightforward. You could object to the bill and say, we don't need that. We don't need criteria on how to identify what is and is not anti-Semitism or something like that. You could say we don't need it or something. But to say that this bill, which is about identifying whether an act of discrimination is based on anti-Semitism or on something else, that this is about to get on school grounds, and that the penalty for a school once anti-Semitism has been identified, this kind of discrimination has been identified, the school has to step in and make sure that the discrimination does not continue. If the school doesn't, then the federal government can withhold federal funding until the school actually takes steps to deal with the discrimination on campus. That's what the bill does. To say that this is going to get people locked up and thrown in prison, or this is going to affect our freedom of speech, when it's specifically pointed out in the bill. Oh, and by the way, just in case anyone is wondering, no, nothing in this bill can ever be used to stop a person's freedom of speech. This is the United States of America. Specifically says it in the bill. And what are people like Candace going around saying? They're going to stop us. They're about to come throw us in prison just for criticizing Israel bombing this town over here. That's what's going to happen. Okay, there are two possibilities. One, you report on things and you have no clue what you're talking about. That's one. You actually believe what you're saying because you are completely ignorant of what you're talking about. In which case, that means you gladly talk about things and you're completely ignorant and you're misleading people because of your stupidity and ignorance. That's one explanation. Two, she knows exactly what the bill says and she's lying to people in order to stir up a bunch of rage in her fans. So she's either ignorant or she's deceptive. Those are the only two possibilities. Anyone who's actually read the bill is looking at her right now, and a bunch of others, mind you, it's not just her, looking at them going, you're ignorant or you're deceptive. It's one or the other. But guess what? If you are either ignorant and you're talking about stuff and you're completely ignorant, you have no clue what you're talking about, or you're deceptive, you do know what you're talking about, but you're deliberately lying, in either case, what is the reason for me taking you seriously after this point? Why would I take you seriously?
She's a despicable liar and also big grifter, and also doesn't shy away from, as said, and I will point this out again and again, from using Christianity and Christian sentiments, because that's what she got a response for, and she's trying to appeal to that, to make money, not just by speaking and presenting herself as a Christian, but also by other means. And I will now bring you closer quickly, just very quickly, to specifically that. Candace is now making Christ is King Candace cups, encouraging fans to hold them up when they disagree with someone. But it's not an own, folks. It's just a statement of faith.
I really do want to thank Andrew Klavan for the inspiration to launch the Standus cups. So many things you can do. It withstand us any temperature. If you have a disagreement with somebody and you want them to understand you, these cups are going to be absolutely amazing. Not to be confused with Stanley cups. Those are basic. Those are backwards. Those are wrong. Head to clubcandace.com. Support.
Is this what young people would refer to as cringe? Am I using that word correctly? This
Yes,
seems like cringe.
yes. I just visibly cringed very hard.
It's not a Stanley cup. It's a Standus cup. So you can stand with me.
That was brutally cringe. Here's a good point. This is a good point. This poster, No Soup for Knowles, says, but it's not an own, folks. It's just a statement of faith. Didn't she say the whole time that this is just it's not, she's not saying this phrase at people. She's just, it's just a statement of faith. It's just that she wants to acknowledge that Christ is king, and that's all she does. That's all this is about. However, here she's directly selling this cup now, and telling people to just show it, to just hold it up and shove it in people's faces when they disagree with them.
And it's just amazing because who's going to be ordering these? David Duke, KKK. Why is he ordering something for Candace? Weird how these issues will unite people who otherwise wouldn't be able to stand each other. Nick Fuentes is going to be sipping out of one of these things.
And look how much they cost, by the way. Okay, it's not too bad, I guess. Autographed is $150.
Oh, quite a bargain. You should
the regular one is $60 only. Huh. Not too bad. Woke right tears.
The internet's forever, folks.
You are the woke right. If you want to if you want to describe people as woke right, Candace, you are the woke right. You are acting like the very people you have accused for years now of being little babies and crying about non-issues and misrepresenting things. That's exactly what you are doing. That's exactly why you were fired from the Daily Wire. That's exactly why you have built your own thing. That's exactly why you adopted that phrase, Christ is king. Because you are just like the woke. You are just like the people you have been fighting against. You misrepresent, exaggerate, and just use whatever you can for certain political means and goals. Appeal to emotions whenever you can without ever being factual. You are the woke right, Candace. But yeah, so this is what she does. She is using Christian sentiments. And by the way, not just using Christian sentiments, she's using Christian sentiments for her own gain in order to weaponize them against Jews. Against Zionists, of course.
So you can hold these up. So you can hold, say, the idea is you would get these, you would throw them in the face of Jews while you're saying, yeah, Jew, and you control the world, you're Jew, and blah, 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 blah. And then when the Jew says, hey, man, that's messed up, you go, oh, you see? It's because my mug says Christ is king.
Which is just a statement of faith.
They're objecting to Christ is king. You see? The Jews. Get them, get those Jews.
And I didn't even mean to offend anyone. It wasn't even for them. It's just a statement of faith. Just because I believe Christ is king, that's why I have this on here. That's why I shoved it in their face, and they don't want me to do this. I'm being oppressed. They are anti-Christian.
Grays 174 just posted a cool super chat.
Vile. Grays 174 said, join the cool Candace club. It should be the cool Candace, cool Candace club. How about that?
Oh, we should start something with Candace Owens. Has anyone done that already?
I think people did that. Yeah,
people did. Okay. Yeah,
sometimes
you come up with an awesome idea and someone already used it.
I think I never said it or never used it, but I have seen over the years people refer to her as Candace. So it's already a thing. Alhamdulillah.
Savior. Well, you better be very careful if you're going to talk about how the Jews played any sort of role in his persecution.
Why are we going to have to be careful?
because that's
how the Jews played any role in the persecution of a
Yeah,
Jew.
yeah. But why are we going to have to be careful of that? What's going to happen?
Because we go to prison, the Jews are going to put us in prison. Boy. Here's the end of the.
They're gonna drink your blood while you're in there. They're gonna drink your blood, just like that tweet I like.
Yeah, they're gonna get drunk on Christian blood because you said Christ is king. Here's the bill, bros. Anti-Semitism Awareness Act of 2023. HR 6090. Yeah. It says at the very end, other rules of construction. General rule of construction. Nothing in this act shall be construed to expand the authority of the Secretary of Education, to alter the standards pursuant to which the Department of Education makes a determination that harassing conduct amounts to actionable discrimination, or to diminish or infringe upon the rights protected under any other provision of law that is in effect as of the date of enactment of this act, which is already sufficient. However, it also says here, constitutional protections, B, nothing in this act shall be construed to diminish or infringe upon any right protected under the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States.
Meaning, do I have freedom to quote the Bible according to the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States?
Yes.
So, AP, according to the bill itself, can anything in this bill be used to diminish or infringe upon my right to quote the Bible, say Christ is king, anything else? Can anything in this bill, according to the bill itself, be used to infringe upon my right to free speech in the United States of America?
No.
Huh, that's weird, because that's the opposite of what Candace is saying.
Candace is stupid. She never read it.
Someone should screenshot that and just share it anytime any idiot says something about this.
what's in the anti-Semitism bill. Being a Christian will pretty much be banned if it gets passed.
Christian will be banned. Christianity is going to be banned if the bill gets passed. If that bill gets passed, if the bill gets passed, Christianity is illegal. We're all going to jail.
It's unbelievable.
Millions of Christians going straight to prison, AP. It's going to happen. Candace says so.
350,000 views. She has 1.8 million subscribers. She actually sits there and really seriously says that. She actually thinks she actually makes it look like, at least, I don't know what she's thinking, makes it look like she's speaking the truth. Listen to this once again.
Any sort of role in his persecution. Yeah, because that's what's in the anti-Semitism bill. Being a Christian will pretty much be banned.
Where was that?
Passed.
Where was that in the anti-Semitism bill? I must have missed it.
It wasn't there. It was what it does say is it's never mentioned in the bill. What it does mention is that the working definition of anti-Semitism shall be used to determine whether an act of discrimination is done because of anti-Semitism. And then once you go and figure out the working definition of anti-Semitism, you find certain tropes, including discriminating against people based on the generalization that the Jews killed Jesus. That's what it said.
So how this actually plays out in the bill, ladies and gentlemen, if you are at a public university, you're at a public university, and there's a Jew walking onto campus, and you say, "You're not allowed here, Jew. You're one of them who killed Jesus. You're one of them who killed Jesus. You can't be here." Then it's discrimination based on the person being Jewish, right?
Yeah.
So, and what would happen? Well, the university would be required to step in to say this student cannot prevent this Jewish student from entering the campus or entering a building or anything else based on this. The university has to step in and say you can't discriminate on this Jewish student on that basis. And if the university says, it's fine, we're going to let this student keep discriminating and blocking this Jewish student from coming onto campus, then the federal government can say, okay, we're withholding funding until you deal with that. That's the entirety of the bill. And Candace is saying, nope, this is saying that anyone who quotes the Bible is about to be thrown in prison.
Here's, by the way, the working definition of anti-Semitism, which is referenced by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, and it says a few things here that you wouldn't expect it to say if you listen to people like Candace Owens. Look at this. It says here, manifestations might include. So this is talking about the working definition of anti-Semitism. It's a non-legally binding working definition of anti-Semitism, which gives examples of what might be anti-Semitic. And now it says, to guide IHRA in its work, the following examples may serve as illustrations. May serve as illustrations. Look at this now. Manifestations might include the targeting of the State of Israel, conceived as a Jewish collectivity. However, criticism of Israel, similar to that leveled against any other country, cannot be regarded as anti-Semitic. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I thought any criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic,
Yeah, that's what
according
she
to
said.
these people.
Yeah. Yeah. So, guys, this is saying again, they're applying this. This is different. This is different. So this is a group that says how you identify when an act of discrimination is based on anti-Semitism, right? And what the bill does is it says we're adopting this for use on school grounds, school campuses, for when a Jewish student is discriminated against, how to identify whether it's because the student is Jewish. Well, a person might say various things to give that indication. And so that's what it's doing there. But they're pointing out here, if you're criticizing Israel, hey, they shouldn't have done that. Hey, they shouldn't have bombed that target. And it's the same way you would have criticized like Russia. Hey, Russia shouldn't have bombed that town. But if it's similar to how you would criticize other places, don't call it anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Don't do it. It's only when you're treating Israel completely different. And again, this isn't the bill. This is a website on identifying stuff. If you're blasting someone in a completely different way from the way you would address other countries, then you get to a point where you say, okay, why is this person treating Israel completely different from every other country? Sounds like, is it anti-Semitism?
Usually gets to that. But this even says cannot be regarded as anti-Semitic. Cannot. So it doesn't say is probably not. No, it says if you criticize Israel for reasons that you criticize other countries regularly, this cannot be regarded as anti-Semitic. It cannot be. Cannot be. Very, very weird, because people like Candace Owens and others always tell me that that criticizing Israel in any way is called anti-Semitism by the Jews and the Zionists. No, that's not what's happening. Anti-Semitism frequently charges Jews with conspiring to harm humanity and is often used to blame Jews for why things go wrong. It is expressed in speech, writing, visual forms, and action, and employs sinister stereotypes and negative character traits. Contemporary examples of anti-Semitism in public life, the media, schools, the workplace, and in the religious sphere could, taking into account the overall context, include but are not limited to. And then it mentions different examples, and then talks about the use of these things for discrimination. However, the specific thing that she goes for is this example here, which is only mentioned briefly in parentheses here in this long list of things that may be anti-Semitic. And it says, using the symbols and images associated with classic anti-Semitism, claims of Jews killing Jesus or blood libel to characterize Israel or Israelis. Does it say you cannot say Jews killed Jesus? No. No. It doesn't say that. Does it say you can't say that those people who killed Jesus or who were responsible for his death were Jewish? No, it doesn't say that. What this says is that an example of what can be anti-Semitic is characterizing Israel or Israelis, for example, or Jews. This is only one of many examples, which may or may not apply, for killing Jesus because they are Jewish. So holding these people responsible collectively because certain Jews at that time were involved in this situation, or because the New Testament has a statement pointing out that those Jews did that certain thing. You're not supposed to characterize people in general based on that statement. This can be seen as an example of anti-Semitism and can lead to anti-Semitic discrimination. However, we are so far removed from the bill here.
Yeah.
Now in the examples of certain examples where it even says, where this website that is being referred to says that these are examples and that these may be considered anti-Semitic depending on the context. This comes from the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, which has the working definition of anti-Semitism, which the bill references as a reference to determine what could be anti-Semitic and what could be anti-Semitic in determining discrimination against Jews and Israelis. The bill never even mentions any of these examples.
Yeah, so when you read the bill and you read this, again, the only application would be if you are discriminating against a Jewish student, you can't enter this building, you can't work here, you can't have this job on campus. And you say, it's because, how would you identify? Again, if I just say, no, you can't work here. If it's a Jewish student, he says, hey, I want a job here. You say, no, you can't work here. How do you know why I'm saying you can't work here? I would have to give you some indication of why I'm saying you haven't worked. To say it's actually anti-Jewish discrimination, I would have to give you some indication. Well, if I say, because you guys killed Jesus, you killed Jesus, Jew, that gives you an indication of why I'm doing it. And so
Yes.
what would happen? The school has to step in and say, you can't do that to that Jewish student. And if they don't, the federal government can say, we're withholding money until you stop letting that student discriminate against the Jewish student. That's it. That's what the bill does. That's it.
Why are people talking about my pronunciation of the word characterize?
Because it's hilarious.
How is it? How do you pronounce it?
Characterize.
Characterize. How did I pronounce it? Characterize.
Characterize.
That's what I said. It. Okay.
Characterize. You said characterize.
Okay.
You said characterize.
No, I didn't.
And then it sounds like you were saying, it sounds like you were talking about rizzing with the characterizing. Characterizing. Rizzing.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are pretty strange, and it makes
They are strange in your head, Candace, because you are dumb.
sense when you consider the fact that Thomas Massey, my favorite congressman in the entire world, because he seems to be the only one that will stand up.
Stand against the Jews.
Recently went on Tucker Carlson, and he had this to say. Take a listen.
I don't care about this. Where is the? She said something more about Jews.
Should have to register, obviously, because you have a foreign country that is impacting American politics, and that should be illegal. But of course, Thomas Massey is
This is stupid. All kinds of foreign countries impact American politics. It's just, notice, it's another situation of treating Israel completely.
There's no reason why that is illegal.
It's another situation of completely treating Israel completely differently.
Yeah.
From every other country.
America is receiving much more funds as foreign influence from other countries than it receives from. It doesn't even receive money from Israel. What she's talking about specifically, and what people generally talk about is AIPAC, which is the American Israeli
Political Action Committee.
Yeah, which which just uses funds to support, not to pay, but to support the campaigns of people who advocate for closer relationships between America and Israel. So that's what's actually happening. It's a lobby that advocates for that, gives out its funds to support the campaigns.
Aren't there lots of lobbies?
People who want to support closer relations with Israel and who want to keep up the ties. It doesn't give people like a bunch of money, like, yeah, you can have all this money. I'll shower you in this money if you support us. That's not what's happening. However, other countries actually funding influence in America. I think I recently saw a list of that. Let me see. Countries. I must have saved it somewhere.
Nope, you forgot.
What is that? Countries that receive no. Foreign lobby watch. Let's see. Let's see. You can think of has interest in the United States, ranging from policy concerns to tourism and trade promotion. Many governments, companies, and other entities pay foreign agents to influence U.S. policy and opinion in pursuit of those interests. Foreign Lobby Watch uses a semi-annual report foreign agents are required to file with the Department of Justice under the Foreign Agents Registration Act to calculate the countries with the highest spending, learn more about different registrants acting on behalf of foreign interests, and more. And now here we have the list of countries that spend lots of money to influence American politics.
There you have it.
China.
Any criticism of China is going to get you sent to prison here any day, AP.
China. Japan.
So we are no longer a sovereign nation. Look, Japan.
Liberia.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. Liberia, my goodness, the powerful Liberian lobby here in the U.S. is controlling us. You can't criticize Liberia anymore because of this. You see, we are owned. We have been bought and sold by Liberia right there. You see it.
Sick of Liberia controlling us and controlling America. Why are we not talking about this? Why are we not finally ending? Everybody is sick of the foreign funding that influences American politics from Liberia. South Korea, Saudi Arabia.
You see?
The farthest, the most distant from American values here is on this list. The first one that occurs here is Saudi Arabia. You should have a problem with Saudi Arabia influencing American politics, not with Israel, which is way below here. Look at that.
Yeah, we have multiple Muslim countries contributing far more than Israel. And ask Candace to look at this list. What's the problem? The Jews. Guys, that's the problem. When you treat Israel and Jews completely differently from the way you would treat anyone else on the planet. And it develops into a kind of obsession. And anything a Jew does, it's part of this massive conspiracy to control everything and so on. But you don't do that with anyone else. You don't do that with China. You don't do that with Japan, Liberia, and so on. That's kind of the issue. But it's just popular right now. It's a popular thing to do.
We need to talk about the influence of the Marshall Islands on American politics, man. This is really, really messed up. How this country is being controlled by the Marshall Islands. We are literally being enslaved, imprisoned, controlled by the Marshall Islands. I'm sick of this. Death to Marshall Islands. Yeah, but seriously, if you look at this list and you think, China, Japan, Liberia, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, okay, Marshall Islands, Qatar, Bahamas, where in the world is even Marshall Islands? You have to remember Israel. Israel.
You see, this is the proof that they're drunk on Christian blood.
If you do this, you probably have a problem with Jews, okay? You probably have a problem with Jews. All right.
Wading into some dangerous water, so to speak, because we know that there was once a president.
I think so. Somebody asked, why does the Marshall Islands have so much funds? I think Marshall Islands is because of trade. I looked into that before. I think it's because of some trade.
Who wanted to make AIPAC register as foreign, and he ended up shot. Coincidentally, ended up shot.
Because of the Jews.
Better be careful. And it's not just what's happening around.
Wait.
Or the Jews will shoot you.
President into some dangerous water, so to speak, because we know that there was once a president who wanted to make AIPAC register as foreign, and he ended up shot.
Okay, so she's obviously talking about none other than JFK, who was shot, who was killed, and of course we know who killed him. Who killed him? The Jews.
The Jews did it.
Because he had a dispute with lobbies. And that's the claim here. That's the claim. And I don't want to talk in detail about this because I would say that I'm not entirely knowledgeable and qualified enough to confidently talk about this issue. But from what I remember, JFK didn't have a big big problem with AIPAC and with the lobbies. It wasn't a big problem. It was a procedural problem to put lobbies into a different position. It wasn't a matter where Israel would hire people to kill JFK over this matter. That's not what happened.
Coincidentally, ended up shot. So Thomas Massie better be careful. And it's not just what's happening down in D.C.
He's going to get shot by the Jews.
Media. We are seeing people get plucked, not because they're anti-Semitic, but because they're not pro-Israel enough. You know, they're not happy, I guess, when an innocent Palestinian kid dies. That's what it seems like. If you are not,
who's it? By the way, AP, who's in trouble? Who's in trouble for being upset that an innocent Palestinian kid dies? Who gets in trouble for that? Pierce talks about it all the time. He hasn't gotten shot yet, but he's about to. According to Candace, he's going to get his brains blown out by Mossad.
Yeah.
Guys, this is insane. Any of you who are defending Canada, this is insane. This is absolutely insane.
Yeah, the Jews. See the Jews shot.
Freaking lunatic, man.
Of AIPAC, and if you are not willing to support every action that Bibi Netanyahu does, then the media will perpetuate you as an anti-Semite who should lose everything, and that is wrong. And there's somebody.
Are you kidding me, man?
I don't support everything Bibi Netanyahu does.
We're still playing this game.
Am I going to get shot now, Candace?
Are you looking at the media recently since October 7? Israel is currently at war with the global media, man. And we're still playing this game that the media is controlling the narrative and is advocating for Israel and anyone who doesn't.
Because they're all paid and controlled by the Jews.
The media is at war with Israel right now, pretty much.
Yeah. Hey, Israel's like, hey, they're like this. Hang on. Here's Israel. All right, guys. We all know we control the media, but to throw people off that fact, let's have all the media constantly bombard us and attack us for the next 8 months. Yeah. You see? That'll throw them off on it. Oh,
gosh. Just this morning, 8 soldiers died. 8 IDF soldiers died. Much respect to them for their service and their courage. 8 soldiers died. The breaking news was, which channel was that? There was immediately a headline which was like, 8 IDF soldiers lost their lives as the death toll reaches 37,000 in this and this and this. It's like completely distracting from the breaking news. Is it 11? Let me see. IDF soldiers. Last I saw it was 8. So no, I still see 8 soldiers killed. 8 soldiers. Israeli military says 8 soldiers killed as fighting rages in southern Gaza in one of the deadliest single incidents for Israeli army. So that happened today. Every day we see the media bashing pretty much Israel in this entire war. And people still want to sell this stupid narrative that Israel is controlling the media. Seriously, man, you have problems. People have problems. AJ, as the first medical doctor, how did Mo die of poison? This is, nobody can explain this, actually.
Yeah. Well, he said that Ajwa dates would protect him from poison, so he knew that as a medical doctor, but he just forgot that day.
Oh, well, that's based.
He was traveling, forgot his Ajwa dates.
Have you seen this video, by the way, of this operation when one of the hostages, Noah, was rescued?
Oh, I saw the one where they roll up in there.
Oh, this
pretty,
one is.
It's pretty based.
Oh, they're carrying her on their back.
אנחנו מאוד מתרגשים שאת פה ואנחנו גאים לך.
אני נורא מתרגשת, אני פשוט נורא מפחדת מהדרך.
הכל בסדר. את איתנו, חברה, הכל בסדר.
Well, that's one of the glimpses of what happened. There was another video where they kick in the doors and go in and save the others and reassure them that everything is okay. I guess for various reasons they don't show exactly every step of the operation, but the glimpses of what you see of the heroic action and the reassurance of these hostages is quite nice to see.
You know, it's weird. We're talking about Candace there, and like what the media actually does, and how it's like the total opposite of what she's saying. But there's an interesting like reversal there. So you got the media, and they're blasting away at Israel constantly, and then you got Candace, and we're not allowed to say anything. We're not allowed to say anything without losing our jobs and being shot. And it's like, what planet do you do you live on, right? So like that level of delusion where journalists can be just constantly nitpicking every little thing Israel does and not treating anyone else in the world like that, not treating any other nation, because you have all these wars going on in Yemen and so on, and they don't treat anyone else like they don't hold anyone else to the level that they hold Israel to. And they're constantly blasting at them. And as they're constantly blasting, there are people like Candace also, oh, and we're not allowed to say one word or we'll be shot. Okay, that's insane, right? But notice the reverse is that for decades after every Islamic terrorist attack, the media would do nothing but defend Islam from criticism. Nothing. When? Show me when the media ever went after Islam after a terrorist attack. All they would ever do is defend it. This has nothing to do with Islam because the Quran says if anyone killed a man, it's as if he's killed all mankind. That's what the Quran teaches. So the media does nothing but defend Islam for decades. And you have Muslims constantly complaining, the media's against us. Isn't this insane? The media does nothing but defend you, and you constantly complain that the media is against you and is doing everything they can to destroy Islam. And then you got the Jew, and the media is constantly blasting the Jews. And then you have people like Candace, the Jews control the media, and they'll kill you if you say one word of criticism. It's nuts, man. Everyone's nuts.
But this is actually proof that the media is being controlled by Israel, because when we were in Israel, didn't you see that Israel is also very protective of Islam and always tries to reassure people that Islam is not the problem, and they try to stop people from
They bother me for posting on social media a picture of my beautiful, sexy foot on the Quran in response to a Muslim who's mouthing off to me. And then what it is, the Israeli government tells me I'm not allowed to do that.
That was a very, very interesting moment. You know, of all the people and accounts that followed me back on Twitter, I'm the most proud of this here, of the Mossad, satirical yet awesome, them following me back, because I always loved this account. I thought they're hilarious. So once I received a follow back from these people,
you knew you'd finally made it.
I thought this is, I made it. I can now peacefully die. And they even messaged me in a very cool way. So it's cool. See, this is the proof that the Mossad is controlling my stuff. AP Dawood, who you got for Euro soccer? France, LOL.
You could name every Euro soccer team out there. I would not be able to give you, I could not name one player. I could not tell you anyone's team who is in any way better than anyone else's team. So I'd have to say, I don't know. They're all losers.
Beast.
They're all losers in my book.
Coffee House Dialogue said, those nasty colonizers, by the people that colonized most of the Christian territory. Anyone who wants to reestablish the lost 4 Cs? I know I do. I think personally we should recreate the borders of the Roman Empire to its greatest extent.
Yeah.
And
if they're going to call us colonizers, no matter what we do, we might as well actually just colonize.
Yes. Yes. Take Constantinople once again. Turn the Hagia Sophia rightfully into a church once again, and so on. Kobe the Bald said, Jesus mobs that random illiterate Arab flop. Sounds pretty racist. Elon says, you know that Israel-Palestine is about Islam because Palestinians can have a state tomorrow if free elections in Jordan, a majority Palestinian state. It's true. Jordan was called a Palestinian state and is technically kind of a Palestinian state. It's like half or the majority of the population is actually of Palestinian Arab origin. It's quite funny. That was also the British plan, by the way. The British and the League of Nations, which came before the United Nations plan, was to take that land, which they provisionally called the mandate for Palestine, which was what is today Israel and Jordan, and they split it in two, where Jordan would be, so Transjordan would be an Arab state, and the western part would be a land for the Jews. Of course, that later changed, but they still want all of it for the Palestines. VGRDNY said, can David explain why Christians like Candace hate Jews? Her lack of logic seems anti-Jewish bias in the name of Christ. David, what is your one-word response to this?
We've been through this lots of times before. I just think when you have a group that's easy to blame for anything that you don't like, people start doing it, and then it becomes a thing. And so that's just been going on with Jews lots over the centuries. Well,
I find it funny when I mention Transjordan, people start talking about Transjordan and Cisjordan. Transjordan. What about Cisjordan?
It's a Jordan that identifies as
Transjordan.
It's Palestine that identifies as Jordan.
Somebody said Transjordan is base Jordan. Oh, no, just Cisjordan is base Jordan here. Cisjordan is base Jordan. Yeah. It was first called Transjordan, I think, which is beyond the Jordan River. Then it was just turned into Jordan officially. Yes. Pants Schmans, we used to say that Dawood was given the polemic strength of 30 men, and he used to and he used to attack Islam for up to 10 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very nice use of that hadith.
I went round to 9 videos in a single night.
That's good. Cedere Rosencroix said, you installed Falco by the comparison, Dr. Wood. You see? There you go, in your face. Elon said there's new information regarding the hostage rescue operation. It seems the
I didn't know that thing's name was Falcor. That was the that monster in The Never-Ending Story. I looked it up.
Oh.
Falcor. Now I know.
It's actually Farfour.
Hey,
Arnold said,
hey, and plus there was since you're German, didn't you used to listen to Falco?
That was long before my time, but yeah,
I
know.
You had the audio tape, Best of Falco.
I only know of one song, which is Amadeus. Something like that. CO said, David, you've literally, this is Candace Owens. Look, David, you've literally been live all day. Thank you, sir.
And 8 hours yesterday. 2 live streams yesterday, 2 today.
There you have Candace Owens making a super chat to thank you for being live all day.
Thank you, Candace.
Hobocop said, Winger did a lifelong stream of being a nerd. The Ashdale Regiment replaced Gaza mosque with churches and take refugees. This is very, very sexist and racist. Pants guys, 12 hours ago, the Traveling Israel channel, 10-minute video, not all cultures are equal. Please, for the love of Ezra. Has been recommended to you 487 billion times. What do you want me to do?
Someone used my number 487. You got that from me, Pants Schmance. I always say 487.
You do?
Yeah.
That's pretty dumb.
It's weird because it's a I'll go ahead and tell you, it's a weird family thing. My dad was saying, hey, check this out. Hey, you listening? Check this out. It's actually a funny story. My dad was saying, so I was young, and he was saying, isn't it annoying when someone comes up to you in a store and they're like, excuse me, do you work here? They're like, do I look like I work here? And he said, so I changed. He said, finally I changed. A woman comes up to me and she goes, excuse me, do you work here? I said, yeah, I work here. And she said, oh, well, how much is this toaster? And I said, it's $487. But you could pay me in cash, right? So anyway, he said that, and ever since he said 487, then after that, at some point, I had to come up with like a random number, and I said 487. And then, like, throughout our lives, whenever we're like making a random number, 487 people just come over here for some reason. Anyway, I've always said it, and now this other guy's using it. He's using my number.
Oh, that's why you always say 487.
I do always say 487. You can look in any of my video. If I'm giving a random number, I'll say 487.
I never noticed it. So, Jepester said Candace flat Earth video when soon, probably.
You know, the older I get, the more I realize the Earth is flat,
and that the Jews have been teaching us
and that
about
the Jews. It's a Jewish conspiracy, and they'll literally kill you for pointing out that the Earth is flat.
Yeah, just look out there. Anybody who says that the Earth is flat, they're being killed, shot. That's why there's nobody out there except me. Tara Mora, do you think most night journey could have actually been the occult practice of astral projection? Well, I will just go ahead and say no. But of course, David can say something wrong if he wants to.
Yeah, I would say, like lots of things in Muhammad, there's not enough to go on. There's just not enough to go on. One, I can't even say with a straight face that this is actually about Muhammad or had anything to do with Muhammad. Two, if it did, could have been a dream, a fantasy, anything else. We just don't know. And if it was actually astral projection, then that would mean, if it was like legitimate astral projection, then his sort of soul or whatever visited that place. He should have gotten the details right, because the details he said were, he supposedly went there and saw it and described it, and the details are completely wrong. In other words, this would be like me telling, "Hey, I had a vision where I went to Saudi Arabia and the city of Riyadh in this little area, and I describe it, and like people who were from there, like, dude, this has nothing to do with where we're from. You have no clue what you're talking about."
Well, I had a beautiful experience where I went to Riyadh, and wow, it was so many trees, so green everywhere.
Yeah,
so beautiful.
And what I liked most were the penguins. All the penguins.
Hey, look at this. People have been posting this photo of
Why does he sit like that?
Of Jeffrey Dahmer, and this just reminded me, because I know every single Hitler photo out there. Just reminded me of a Hitler photo, which I posted in response to it, which is this. Yeah. They look quite similar, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know he wants that little mustache. He's so jealous of that little mustache.
Yeah. So this guy.
Cultures are equal, and you know it. If you had to choose between two rich oil-producing countries, which one would you rather live in, Norway or Saudi Arabia?
Saudi Arabia, of course.
Yeah.
I guess you would choose Norway, and not because of the weather.
No, they got a bikini
Why
beach
is
now.
it that most of you
Saudi
would
Arabia.
probably choose Norway over Saudi Arabia?
Not if it's a bikini beach.
Interesting. I'm gonna watch this later, and maybe we can review that.
Oh, traveling Israel. Hey, maybe we'll watch it tomorrow. I was planning on watching a couple of videos there at the end.
Inshallah. Holy beta super chat and smiled. Mike Winger's favorite show, said Cam. This is indeed true, verified. Kiki said, I'm quite ignorant in Middle East politics. What is the reason Muslim countries don't want the Palestinians there? I love your videos together. Because they didn't have very nice experiences with them. Political outrage, entitlement, refugee status, and so on. Different reasons. Many different reasons.
Yeah, you have. I mean, again, I'm sure matter of fact, no, I know they're perfectly nice Palestinian people, because I've met some of the Christians from there, and I'm assuming there are also Muslims there who are totally normal and just want to live normal lives and so on. But you kind of don't know what you're getting. If you said, "Hey, I'm going to take in 20,000 Palestinian refugees," a lot of these people were raised on what was that Palestinian children's television, that you have to wage jihad to get your way on anything. What happens when they disagree with your government? What happens when they disagree with you over something? What happens? A lot of countries are like, we know how these guys are raised. We know a lot of what they believe. We know a lot of what they support. A lot of these people are raised to be absolutely obsessed with terrorism as the way to get anything you want in life. And no, we don't want him here.
It's also that the collectively, if they take in Palestinians, they will have to take them in with a refugee status, which gives them extra obligations and responsibilities and all kinds of different things. And honestly, it's not part of the culture of the Arab culture to want to deal with that, and they don't want to deal with it. They would rather want to just shove them into this other place and fight and let them fight for their freedom. That's it.
Yeah. Hey, there's this place over here. Well, these young people are raised to be obsessed with terrorism. Let's bring in as many people as we can. Like that's a Western thing.
Yeah. It's quite stupid. Hey, did you see that in the picture here? He's like he's celebrating the Taliban for banning.
Yeah, go ahead and read that. That's
1,000 days since Taliban banned teenage girls from going to school. Afghanistan is the only country in the world where girls are prohibited from school or university. In the 21st century, this is a disgraceful blemish on humanity. Daniel said, they're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Yes, keeping girls from learning anything except how to make babies.
Alhamdulillah. This is Islam for you.
Who claims that she
He's got the legs to show it.
As I told you at the top, her name is Brianna Joy Gray, and she was fired. According to the headlines, it was because of her shocking response to the sister of a Hamas hostage. I'm going to let you hear what Brianna said to the sister of the Hamas hostage, and tell me if you're completely shocked by it. Take a listen to Brianna while she was at the Hill interviewing this young woman.
She will now show the clip of Brianna rolling her eyes, and then immediately give her own twist and her own interpretation to it to make it appealing to her usual audience. Pay attention.
I'm just going to push back against the implication that in Michigan, which has the largest Muslim and Arab population in America, that there is any threat of terrorism from our own people. And I would like to clarify also that one of the rationale that was presented for 9/11 was discussed with America's support of Israel's continued occupation of Palestine. So that's neither here nor there. I really do hope that Netanyahu agrees and Israel agrees to the ceasefire deal that could bring all the hostages, including your sister, home. And I'm sure many people watching are praying for her safety.
Thank you. Me too. And I really hope that you specifically will believe women when they say that they got hurt.
All right. Thanks for joining. Stick around. More Rising.
It's not even the wording. You can already see her face go like this before she even gets to believe.
That you specifically will believe women.
Look at this. She's already starting here. Already starting here.
When they say that they got hurt.
All right. Thanks for joining.
And then she cuts her off. Cuts her off because she's like,
sister of a Hamas. Sister of a Hamas hostage.
Yeah, this is the sister of a hostage who was of a person who was taken a hostage by Hamas. And we have the UN envoy, independent experts, many different people confirm that there are multiple instances of Hamas raping and otherwise sexually assaulting and sexually abusing Israeli civilians and soldiers inside Israel, and also after taking them to Gaza. And in fact, the UN envoy said that that there are grave concerns that almost definitely hostages inside Gaza being held by Hamas are still experiencing sexual assault and sexual abuse. So they must be taken out of there. They must be brought back. And she is now talking about this, and Brianna's response to it, without even paying attention to the wording, is already shut up and cutting her off.
Will believe women. And I really hope that you specifically will believe women when they say that they got hurt.
All right. Thanks for joining. Stick around. More Rising coming up next.
You can guess now what Candace Owens will make this about. It will be, she will pay attention to the wording and make it just all about that. Let's see.
There it is. Shocking. She seems to have rolled her eyes when the young woman told her to believe women. I mean, that hashtag just believe women, of course, is something that makes me roll my eyes as well. We want to believe our hard facts and we want to be able to discern what is actually happening. But I'm not going to contextualize anything that.
This is her takeaway from it. She immediately twists the video, twists what happened, focuses on that certain aspect, and after doing that, after manipulating it in such a way, she then actually, seriously, with a straight face, says that she's not going to contextualize things. So apparently to her, the shocking thing about this was not that this Brianna rolled her eye and mocked and cut off a sister of a Hamas hostage. That's not the shocking part. Apparently, to her, the problem was just that this woman said, believe women. And Brianna had a problem with the statement, believe women. Just like we, guys, we, right? We also have a problem with the believe women word, right? And of course, we would also roll our eyes.
Thanks for joining.
I really hope that you specifically will believe women when they say that they got hurt.
All right, thanks for joining. Stick around. More Rising coming up next.
There it is. Shocking. She seems to have rolled her eyes when the young woman told her to believe women. I mean, that hashtag just believe women, of course, is something that makes me roll my eyes as well.
To her, this is seriously about the wording there, believe women. And she makes this about the whole American discussion.
Yeah,
from
and not about
women.
Yeah, and not about the Israeli women who were raped, and they say they were raped, and everyone calls them liars. No, because Hamas is too good, and they just want a place like the United States, and they would never do that. You're making that up because you're Jewish, and all you do is lie.
Yeah.
And she says, hey.
Watching this just... I disliked and mistrusted and always thought that she's that she's totally terrible, Candace. But just watching this again, with her twisting things like this, it just makes me hate this person. Makes me feel completely disgusted by this person.
Yeah, I have to say, I never had a problem with Candace. I like it, I like that she's calling things out. You could be on all kinds of different sides of various issues, and if I don't see you as slimy or something like that, I'm totally fine with it. So if you had gone back like a year and said, David, keep in mind, I've never really followed her, just seen tweets by her and stuff like this, and seen her in a couple of videos. But if you had said, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think of Candace? I'd have said 7 or something like that. More recently, past couple months, I'd have thought like a 5. After these two live streams that we did on your channel, actually going through, because I've never paid much attention. Again, like in the past, I'm thinking like, I notice her when she's going back and forth with Cardi B or something like that. She's owning Cardi B, and it's good because Cardi B was saying stupid stuff, so it's good. So when Candace is calling stuff out that's stupid, all for it. Now I'd have to say after these 2 live streams where we're actually paying attention to how slimy some of this stuff is, like between 1 and 2 on a scale of 1 to 10, between 1 and 2, like not as bad as possible, but pretty darn low. I'd say a 2.
And the issue is, you say that, and I didn't even pick certain parts of her video, right? Yesterday I played the interview of the discussion between her and Piers Morgan from the beginning up until minute 27, because that's the relevant part that I want to address. Here I just played her video from the beginning on. I didn't even select specific parts. I didn't specifically pick anything. I'm just playing whatever is out there. And your conclusion is already that your impression of Candace has significantly dropped to the very bottom almost.
Pretty low.
Yeah. I guess we can leave it here for now. We will definitely get back And I still,
yeah, I suspect she's not done talking, and I suspect you're not done being obsessed with everything she says.
oh, wait a minute.
We want to believe our hard facts, and we want to be able to discern what is actually happening. But I'm not going to contextualize anything that Brianna did. I'm going to allow her to speak on behalf of herself.
She really gives that whole thing and then says, I'm not going to contextualize anything. You just did as much as you can.
We'll have that coming up for you guys in just a second. Well, I can tell you one thing that happens when you get fired. You start to worry about your everyday bills. And I can tell you that, unfortunately, that's a 12-10.
I thought she was going to advertise for her mug, but okay. Anyway,
No.
So the mug. That's funny. You could interpret that in different ways, but T said, "Can you speak about how the crisis with Gaza and how Hamas and other terrorist groups are the reason the war is going on, instead of the false lies from Hamas to control the Gaza Ministry of Health trying to blame the IDF?" Isn't that what we have been talking about very, very much?
Yeah, who keeps starting these wars, and who had the power to end it at any time?
I've got the power. Yeah, but that's pretty much what we're doing. And I go further and say that Islam is one of the main reasons, in fact, the biggest reason. So, sorry. Skylar Harris said, David, do you think it's biblical to be a snitch? You always talk about how bad snitches are, but isn't it the right thing to do to expose bad actions?
It's going to depend on the situation. If someone's about to launch a terrorist attack and so on, then you go snitch on them and stuff, then I would say yes. Other situations, no. Like, it was weird because my prison background, it's ingrained in me to not snitch. And even before that, just the way I grew up, don't be snitching on people. But it'd be a funny situation where one of my kids would tell on one of my other kids. He'd be like, hey, look what Lucian did, blah, 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 blah. I'd be, Lucian, you're in trouble for doing that, blah, blah, blah. Blaze, you're in trouble too for snitching on your brother. So you'd be in trouble for snitching.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, you shouldn't be snitching on your brother. If he's doing something major that's going to cause lots of trouble or that crosses certain lines, then yes, I would want you to tell. If he did something that you could call him out on if you wanted to, and you're running to me, yeah, quit snitching on your brother. Because there's another thing that you want brothers to trust each other. And you're not going to be trusting. That's an important part of being brothers. So you don't want one brother always snitching on the other brother, getting him in trouble and stuff like that. You grow up not trusting each other. So anyway, it's a difficult issue.
Gosh, I'm seeing these ridiculous takes here. Neo Berg said American right wing. So the Sneako update says the new face of the American right wing posting this. What? Wait, she is there too. Oh my God. I'll get to that in a second. And she said American right wing. First person is a Pakistani from the UK. Second is a Botox alien from Denmark. Talking about Dr. Lupus.
Oh, that's Dr. Lupus.
Yes.
Oh, funny. I've seen her tweets.
It's Lupus, Dr. Lupus. The thing is, this woman here, this girl here.
Isn't she Jewish?
She is only there because she recently got traction. She got famous.
For saying the N-word or something?
Saying the N-word.
Yeah. All right. Hey, she's cool with us. Let's get David Duke in here. And
this is really the value that these guys are adding nowadays. Well, look, I'm saying bad word.
Ooh, you're so based. You're so based.
Whoa,
people were making fun of Andrew Tate for doing that. He started saying it every other word. And they're like, oh, look, I said the N-word. You see?
This is not the right wing. These are completely
it's like a clown.
ridiculous.
It's like a clown convention or something.
Yeah, a bunch of clowns came together here to pose for a picture. That's what this is. This is not the right wing. None of these people have actual standards and principles that stand for anything that is right wing. Man. Alessandro Felici, the bird is an upupa, cited in the Quran as the general of the Solomon's army. Oh, you mean the bird from the cartoon? That's based.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hope somebody kills that bird. Beatrice Nunes said, please, where can I find this crazy cartoon about the Jews? Beatrice, you can find that. Search for Sheba TV 2 on YouTube. Sheba TV, SHEBATV2 on YouTube. There you will find a Yemeni Arab channel, and it's on their side on their side. Otherwise, the version with the subtitles you can find directly on my Twitter. I retweeted it today. I posted it today. Yep. T says, thank you for talking about Hamas. Can you include the terrorists from Lebanon too? You mean Hezbollah? Yeah. Hezbollah, yes. Hezbollah, death to Hezbollah.
They might become the next issue. I don't know.
Hope they don't.
I don't think they will. I think they're just trying to impress some people right now. I don't think they're willing to go all out, but
hope they all die soon. Cameron Schwartz said Candace had influence for a reason. Her statement on George Floyd, BLM, and her Congress speeches resonated with a lot of people. She's definitely a grifter, though, with revolting takes on many, many things. Well, I don't know why, because I listened to her, to lots of things that she said, even things that were popular or people considered impressive, and I always only cringed.
I always had a problem because she's black.
My response to whenever I heard Candace talk was, ew, brother, ew, what's that? That's has always been my response, because I always thought she's very dumb. And there are lots of people who have a lot of good things to say about these issues. She's not one of them. And she's full of misinformation. You could literally sit down and fact check her and list things that false claims that she made for 2 hours straight. You could make a whole video for 2 hours that is all about all the wrong, false things, obviously false, debunked things that she has said over the years. She's terrible. Not sure why anyone has been listening to her. Black Milk has said AP with the stash looks like Dante from Clerks. What is Clerks?
It was a movie. I never saw it.
Huh.
Is that a young? Is Kevin Smith? Oh, that's Kevin Smith.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's funny.
Yeah, that looks exactly like me. He copied me. It's funny. Knows too much said the Islamo-Nazi KKK meeting is not surprising, kind of like the modern version of the meeting between Amin al-Husseini and Hitler. Indeed, in a way.
No, that's Brian Christopher O'Halloran.
Alhamdulillah. Adam said, AP and David, thank you both for a wonderful combination of information and comedy. Without humor, I don't think I could handle the insanity going on today. Common sense is not so common after all. That's what we do, and we're proud of that. So,
urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
We're proud of that.
But yeah, people are crazy nowadays. Sid Dave said, imagine Muslim settlers in Europe, US calling for an end to settler colonialism in Israel while engaging in it yourself. They know how to fool Western liberals. Yeah, isn't it funny that according to polls, the majority of the population of Europe doesn't want more Muslim immigration, and they didn't want more Muslim immigration 10 years ago, and still it kept coming through. So if the local population doesn't want it, and they are actually indigenous people to the land, does that mean that the Muslims who came along this whole time were actually the colonizers? I don't know. Knows too much said Palestinians, biggest lie in modern history. Only a Palestinist ideology exists. Palestinist goal, genocidal Islamic imperialism in Israel. Yeah, the Palestinian national identity came into existence in the 20th century, very much in response to Zionism. So the whole Palestinian nation just consists of wanting to destroy Israel. That's it, which is a ridiculous reason for a national identity. The Sahih Masker said, what do you call a Quran in a toilet? Kloran. That's good, because a Klo in German is a toilet. Yeah.
That joke works in German.
Yeah. Dove Bleichfeld said, what is the caliphate? Please explain. The caliphate is the Islamic rule over... In Islam, Muslims are supposed to be united under one leadership, not separate countries, and that leadership is supposed to be the caliphate, and that caliphate is supposed to be ruled by the caliph, the representative of the Muslims of Muhammad. He's supposed to be in charge of religious affairs, state affairs, military affairs, and the caliph has the responsibility of upholding Islam and spreading Islam. That's the short version of it.
And Muslims always had a caliphate of one variety or another until the Ottoman Empire lost in World War I. And then after that, the caliphate ended. A lot of Muslims thought, well, Islam lost. And then there was an Islamic revival saying the reason we lost is because we haven't been devout enough. So we need to crack down. And so you got the revolution in Iran, you get the Muslim Brotherhood, you get all these groups that say, hey, we need to really crack down and be really, really, really Sharia compliant and so on, ultimately leading to ISIS going extremely Sharia compliant and saying that they have renewed the caliphate and so on.
Yep.
But Allah didn't even bless that. So where are you going now, guys?
But there were Jewish Roman dual citizens, thuggies at the grifter by my mug shirt moment, by a Candace cringe cup. That's good. Foxhole 5, why are there no BCE artifacts found in Mecca?
Cringe cup.
Because Mecca was a terrible place. It wasn't really a place. Have you seen Freedom Tunes Candace Owens versus Ben Shapiro debate? Freaking hilarious. I didn't see it. We'll probably check it out sometime.
I think I saw it.
Kisselina SRB said a possible argument for the Trinity. Ask a Muslim, does he have a soul? Does he have the will, spirit? Does he have a body? Is he not three things that are one? David will decide if this works and will then authorize the use of this in international.
Yeah, you have to be careful saying this is like the Trinity. But yeah, you can use examples like that, and I do. I would use that example as an example of something that's one in one way and more than one in another way, or a compound unity.
So David Wood hereby authorizes global Christianity to use this argument in apologetics. Signed by David Wood. You heard it here first. White Lily said, what's scary is that they really believe Israel is keeping the Muslim world from forming the caliphate. They think once they get rid of Israel, they can open the borders to all the Muslim world. This is indeed how they think. This is what they think.
I have to say, I kind of agree. Not that Israel is blocking the caliphate or something like that, but that if they actually got what they wanted in Israel, that you would very quickly see the renewal of the caliphate. There would be too much. They would think, we're winning now. We're winning now. It's time. It's time for us to conquer the world and restart the caliphate.
Honestly, in my own opinion, they would attempt to say, oh, look, we have defeated Israel. It's now time to build the caliphate. And they would attempt to come together. At this point, I don't think it would be.
I don't think they would actually make it work because there's too much fighting amongst themselves now.
Yeah,
who would be the leaders and stuff like that. I think you would get something ISIS-ish, but more successful and more difficult to deal with. But I don't think that they would long-term reestablish any sort of global caliphate.
If Israel disappeared today, there would be a bloodbath, a massacre between the different Palestinian sides. It wouldn't even work there. So Papa said, admire the work you both do. While with the recent Israel-Hamas war and the protests in the West, coupled with the cognitive dissonance, are we truly making progress against this violent Islamic ideology? Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Are we making progress? Have you seen the apostasy rates?
Yes.
Have you seen
crushing it? We are crushing it.
And I've said before, even right now, even with all these people flipping out and the college protesters and everyone losing their minds, there's a light at the end of this tunnel. Muhammad Hijab, our good friend and like the all-time king of Dawah in our book, we love him. But a few years ago when he did his poll saying, Muslims, when you start to doubt Islam, what causes those doubts? The number one response was moral problems with Muhammad, but another popular answer was the weakness of the Ummah. The Ummah is supposed to be strong. They're supposed to be dominating the world by now, and they're weak, right? It bothers them. It torments them psychologically. Why are we so weak? That's part of the obsession with Israel. How are we so weak that we can't deal with just a few Jews? How do we have a quarter of the world's population? We can't deal with a few million Jews. Why are we so weak? Why are we so weak? If they try everything they can right now and they still fail and cannot do anything to stop Israel, what are you doing? You lose. You lose. You're gonna the apostasy rate.
Unfortunately,
watch
some
it go.
people are pessimistic and say things like, "Oh no, it's over. Like, things are going to get really bad."
Go
Don't
live in a bunker somewhere.
Don't listen to them.
Yeah, don't be a
Things
snooze
are
and
going.
cry, baby.
Closet Christian AP said, but didn't Mo have a soft spot for Jews? Why I criticize Islam timestamp 2757, shake it off. God bless you and your families. He did have a soft spot for Jews initially until they didn't respond very well to his preachings and to his claims of being a prophet of the same God. And when he kept asking them dumb questions and they kept trolling him, and they created a major troll army, and then he got really mad at the Jews. So,
Muhammad liked everyone until they rejected him, and then he had to die.
The Jew trolls. Papa said, can you research Candace's views on Israel before and after marriage? I'm not going to say it. I know. This has been brought to my attention by different people, including, I think, by Tree of Logic, Tree 411. She has also pointed out that Candace was very different before marrying and after getting married, and that lots of things changed. Her views very much changed and got influenced by the guy. But she was very much pro-Israel, and apparently gave Netanyahu a standing ovation. What was it, Donald Trump, after moving the embassy to Jerusalem? I don't know. Then things really turned around for her. Ghost of reckons at Candace Owens. Why is it that those who know the least seem to know it the loudest? This is the problem. It's the problem with society. It's because we live in a society. That's the problem. You don't need to remember. So can you guys please take a look at Zeki and Friends at some point? It's an Islamic brainwashing cartoon series for kids. I think I did have a look at that. Let's see. Zeki and Friends. Zeki and Friends. Zeki and Friends. Zeki and Friends. One for kids is the channel. Zeki and Friends. 1.4 million subscribers, with cartoons made for Muslim families. I'm not really interested, to be honest, but I'm gonna have a look just to see if there's anything weird. But David will have a look, of course. He's obsessed with that. Beatrice Nunes said, please, I really want to make the case to a Muslim friend that Hamas has nothing to do with justice. They just say a global struggle. What are 3 speeches from Hamas leaders I can use? You can find them throughout my I already showed one, which is Fatih Hamad in 2018, saying that the goal is to eradicate or to cleanse Palestine of the Jews and to start a caliphate. Then there is another one after October 7, where another leader, I think his name is Ghazi Hamad, he said that the goal is to destroy Israel, and they will do October 7 again and again and again. There are many of them. Look for them. You look at my Twitter, I posted lots of videos of Hamas. Or get in touch with me. Send me an email or send me a message, and I'll direct some toward you. Flypain25, David Wood and AP, I'm a Jew. 3 Irish Catholic uncles, Groypers on X, still tell me once they're done with Jews, the mixed racers are next, Christians included. Well, what are you going to say?
I've heard that before. I've asked them before. I've been like, okay, I'm married to a woman who is half Filipina, and our kids are therefore a quarter Filipino. What happens? They say, nope, not allowed. Not allowed in the white nationalist nation.
JH said this dumbass said this conflict is purely Islamic. Dumbass doesn't realize the very first resistance groups against Israel were secular Marxists. One of the suicide bombers was a Christian female. Did I say this conflict is purely Islamic?
Did I say you said Islam is the only source of any conflict.
It's always so funny to me when somebody comes and calls you a dumbass, and then they don't even represent things correctly or don't even understand them.
Pretty standard.
Pretty sure I never said that that the conflict is purely Islamic. If I did say something like, if I did literally say that, I must correct myself. because that would be a very dumb
if
thing
you
to say.
did say that, I would regard it as hyperbole because we know there's a lot of idiotic nonsense involved in this.
I'm pretty sure what I did say here is that Islam is primarily responsible, not purely responsible. Those are very, very different things. Very different things. Very different things. I'm aware of the history of the conflict and of the PFLP, which is a communist organization, which was very much representing the Gazan side before Hamas came into power and tried to turn everything more toward Islam. However, Islam has always been at the very core, at the foundation of this conflict, including from the beginning of the 20th century, including the first leadership of so-called Palestinian Arabs, consisted of Islamic leaders. Amin al-Husseini, the first leader of Palestinian Arabs, the first official leader, was an Islamic imam, a grand mufti, not a communist. And his propaganda point to rile people up was that this is Allah's promise. So if you're going to just bring it to the PFLP and the secular PLO activism that came later on and say, no, it's actually secular, then you are the dumbass here. Sorry. Flypaint says, Lorichetto says, keep up the good work, exposing the way Candace launders hate by cloaking herself in the First Amendment and Christianity. Live long and prosper. I don't want to live long, honestly. I'm doing this so that I can one day be caught by the jihadists. But otherwise, thank you, appreciate it. Change comes from within, said Candace looks like she doesn't even believe Candace when speaking about Jesus. Yeah, it doesn't look genuine at all to me, but I'm not one to judge here. So I would never say that she's just using Christianity. Cam, Jesus is a Jew, you see, then Candace converts to Islam. Yeah, that's funny. If somebody told her that Jesus is actually a Jew, she will be like, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. Oh no, I believe in Islam now. Monkey Mike, love you too, but a small tip for you, AP. Even though you are working against people who either through vile intentions or top-tier ignorance spread lies and hate, do not let it make you bitter. Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the bright side of life. Yeah. Thank you. This is a good reminder. I appreciate that. It's a good reminder. It's one that I try to give myself as well.
You do a pretty crap job of it.
Yeah, pretty terrible job. It's difficult to do. I blame it on
the Jews.
The Jews, yeah. See how easy it is. It's difficult. It's difficult. But yeah, I'm trying. I always remember the great words of one great thinker whom David Wood always hates.
Blessed are the peacemakers. Candace.
No, not that one. Nietzsche said, see to it that when you deal with monsters, you yourself do not become a monster. For when you look into the abyss also
looks into you. Yeah. Now let me go hug a horse and lose my mind, yeah.
Yeah. A Nigerian Armenian Lives Matter said, I think Candace got these ideas anti-Semitism from hanging out with Kanye. He is Black Israelite or started hanging out with them. Your thoughts? Well, Kanye is literally a mentally ill person who has severe delusions and mania. And this is not an insult. I don't think I would actually want to insult somebody like that. He actually does suffer from psychotic episodes and from manic episodes, and was medicated, but then he started, I think he got off the medication because he said that the Jews are medicating him to prevent him from being successful and seeing the truth and things like that. So
we cut Kanye some slack. We cut Kanye some slack. Like I'm still rooting for Kanye. Doesn't mean I'm rooting for everything he says, because he says messed up stuff. But I'm hoping he gets through this stuff and becomes better.
But if you use Kanye in his deluded state and promote his deluded state and align yourself with him and use him and all that, then that's just really messed up.
It's pretty bad.
Pretty messed up. Legimathicon says, Candace's monetization of Christ's name is exactly what the third commandment is about in Judaism, preventing Chilul Hashem, profaning the name of God. We make it hard to convert, unlike her quick conversion to Catholicism to try to keep her type out. I see the point. And that's what I think about when I see people like her do that, like use Christ, the name, or use Christianity for her own gain, for her own advantage, to rile Christians up, to make money, to accuse others, and so on. That's what comes to mind. Not that I'm in a position to interpret the commandment here. Is that how you understand it, David? Is that how you would understand it?
Possibly.
Is that a way you could understand it?
That's a way a person could understand it.
Alhamdulillah. The Jews got it right, you see. Patriotic said, I feel like she was trained by Farfour to blame the Jews. This makes sense. This is sick. Anyways, thank you so much for your hard work, AP and Daily Wire. Much love. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that Farfour might... They gave the impression that Farfour is dead, but he's probably not dead. He might be behind the scenes, cooperating with people like Candace. Urinating Broom said, I think that in 10 years, most of these fools will be irrelevant, like AP's old buddy Adam Saleh. Where is he now? Hey, that's funny. I haven't heard of Adam Saleh in a long time. What happened to that guy?
Well, he was decreasing in popularity for a long time.
Yeah, for a big time. Well, that's what happens when you...
And you started looking at his videos and stuff like that, and he couldn't get anywhere near as many views. Oh, no, he posted 3 months ago, Adam Saleh versus Zionists in public, heated debate, 82,000 views.
Wow.
It's a guy with almost 5 million subscribers.
Ooh, that really fell off. Well, what do you expect this guy to say?
Yep.
About Zionists?
And then Adam Saleh vlogs confronting Starbucks customers for funding Israel. So he's going around to Starbucks. 89,000 views. So again, 89,000 views for a regular YouTube channel. 89,000 views would be a lot. For someone with 5 million subscribers on a very controversial topic in the middle of a very heated situation, that's a huge fail. That's a huge fail. And that's why he's not posting anymore. No one really cares anymore, apparently.
I kind of feel like it would be funny watching one of his dumb videos on the conflict just for the comedic value.
Yeah, let me see.
That's cool.
Yeah, so to give you an idea, looking back at his clicking on his popular videos, 25 million, 14 million, 13 million, 13 million, 12 million, 11 million. Here you are in the middle of a war between Israel and Gaza, and he posts videos trying to make a comeback and can't get 100,000.
Alhamdulillah. AP got hired to Daily Wire after Candy got hired.
That'd be a good hire.
Jesus Christ is King. Muta Mouse harassing the coffee drinkers. Who is Farfour? Farfour is an important Hamas operative who is responsible behind the scenes for hiring different anti-Israel people. Farfour Owens. Farfour is responsible for Farfour is responsible for it. Yeah, it's not the cow, it's Farfour, actually. The Lion said, Daily Wire, after finishing the earlier show, I went on ChatGPT, had an argument with the AI about Haf's Quran transmission using my newfound knowledge. The AI pretty much boiled it down to trust them, bro.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Huh, that's cool. Then trust them then if that's what AI says. If that's what ChatGPT says, you should do what the ChatGPT says.
Hey, you should check out that stuff, AP. Turns out the transmitters of the Quran that 95% of Muslims use, three of the transmitters are completely rejected by the Hadith guys for being liars or bad at Arabic or for other reasons. And yet you're trusting it. So you won't trust them with the Hadith. And Jai gave an example. Here's a Hadith. It's rejected. It's considered da'if. Why? Because Hafs is one of the transmitters. So you can't even trust a statement of Muhammad if Hafs narrated it, because he's so unreliable. He's called a fabricator, a liar, a thief, all kinds of things. And yet they trust him with the integrity of the Quran.
Yeah, that's true. JS said, this type of Christian ignorance and hatred against Jews led to the Inquisition and Limpia de Sangre laws that were the blueprint for Nazi purity laws. Jew hatred is a stain on Christianity. This is the exact sentiment of, I want to say, I don't know, which many Christian churches, which the Catholic Church later on adopted and explained, which different churches adopted later on and explained. But this is, people just don't see it. It's easy when you have when you have your own powerful society and religious community to, you know, point fingers at others and to allow the ignorant people within to create a trend of hate, which then leads to violence. It's easy to not consider that a serious thing, to dismiss that or to justify that when it's done against others. It's always, of course, important to see how that could be turned around against you in a different society under different circumstances. As David yesterday, for example, pointed out, that in Pakistan, for example, and in other Muslim countries, people do things like these to Christians, to Christian minorities, to Christian individuals. We have talked extensively about how in Pakistan, for example, people create rumors about certain Christians that they have a dispute with, to then accuse them of working against Islam and insulting Islamic values, where then everyone gets together and they start lynching that Christian and demanding that they be killed. So things like these can happen inside any society against the others, and people don't see the problem when it happens to others, to a minority among them. They just don't seem to understand that something like that can happen to them and their own people as well. And this happens in every society, every religious group, every society, unfortunately. It is the human condition. Fatwat said, firstly, we must confirm if Candace understands the term discrimination, much like whether she understands the word genocide. I don't think she understands any of that. If you asked her, do you think this is an act of discrimination? She'll probably say, well, those who don't agree that it is discrimination first have to tell me why, what exactly discrimination means to them, and then I can decide whether I agree with them or not.
But they won't tell me.
But they will never tell me, so I don't know what discrimination is.
I don't know.
I don't know. Robin Hood, hey guys, you have spent all night defending the Jews. I approve your message. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, that's what we do. It's all for the shekels, man.
It's all for the pounds.
Yeah, it's all for the shekels. No, I appreciate it, Robin Hood. Thank you so much. Nigerian Armenian Lives Matter said, why doesn't she use her platform to talk about what's happening to Nigerian and Aramean Christians? Aramean Christians? Why is she not calling out the genocide? I think you meant Armenian. Because it doesn't get much attention and it doesn't pay well.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about Nigerian Christians and so on, what's going on there. It doesn't get you a lot of attention. So if you're in this for the attention, it's not going to get you the attention.
Yeah. You should switch to talking about Jews, David.
Yeah, I'll just talk about that.
Yeah.
Eat the Jews.
So you can increase your subscriber count more quickly and get money. Satani Alkan said, of course, AP is still blasting away at Candace, typical racist cis Turk male. Yeah, that's what you get.
Good point.
Michael made super shekels and said, is Jordan Peterson trans Jordan or cis Jordan? I think I would think that he's cis Jordan, honestly.
Someone should make a character called Trans Jordan Peterson. It's someone who identifies as Jordan Peterson, but it's also a trans person. That'd be a funny character.
Eliyahu said, hey AP, was Dev Shirma abducting and converting kids a practice that is Islamic or just random imperial Ottoman stuff? Well, it certainly was rooted in Islamic supremacy and the Islamic idea of having the superior Islamic morality and righteousness, and the Christians and Jews are lesser people who are being misled. So it was justified to take their kids and convert them to Islam and then use them in military. But I would say that it was also more about the Ottoman way of doing things. So I'm just talking about it as if it's clear, but the Shirme system was a system in the Ottoman Empire where I think it literally means to conversion or something like that, sub-conversion. Where the Ottomans would use their Christian subjects. So the Ottomans would have Christian subjects, especially in the Balkans. The Christian subjects would pay jizya, would pay protection money, and abide by the Ottoman laws given to them. And they would also have to give up their children, a number of children, to be given to the Ottoman rulers, to the Sultanate, and those children would then be forcibly, taken and educated and raised as Muslims in order to create a special army.
And then they would, and then you'd be fighting against your own kids who come to attack you.
Yes, they would be taken and raised with Ottoman principles and Ottoman values to then fight as this very special force, special unit to fight against the enemies of the Ottoman Empire, which included mostly the Christians. Pretty messed up. Pretty messed up.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, they were also very feared, apparently, because they were raised and trained under very special circumstances, detached from any family and all that. But they also became a problem later on because they became so privileged and increased in numbers, and they started threatening the sultans and demanding change, and in fact actually enforcing the killing and changing of new sultans until later they were abolished. But this is something that the Ottomans did. That's what they do.
Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
Arash Kawaran said, that soundbite will never get old, man. I love it. Arash Kawaran said, my guilty pleasure is seeing the disappointment of a Muslim when they learn that I, an Iranian American, am not a Muslim, so as many other Iranians. Yeah, people don't get that that a lot of the Iranian diaspora is a diaspora for a reason. And that lots of Iranians are not very proud Muslims, especially if they are in the West. It's always funny to see. Always funny to see. Matthew Velasquez, Candace once accused Ben of inserting himself in her Christian beliefs on Twitter. Now she is inserting herself into the firing of another woman. Yep, we talked about that yesterday, Matthew. We talked about it yesterday. JJ said, at this stage, Candace should consider converting to Islam since her actions don't align with Christian belief. That's exactly what David said. Knows too much said, notice Brianna repeated the Israel Occupy Palestine lie and not challenged it. Also, did she refer to the fake Bin Laden letter regarding 9/11? I don't know about that. Haven't seen it. Dearsful Prime. David, this is for us 80s peeps. Tell AP to YouTube, brother. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. The joke is on you. I listened to a lot of 80s songs and even 70s songs and 90s songs and sometimes even 60s songs. And in fact, Heaven is a Place on Earth is one of my favorite songs. So joke's on you, Deusvold Prime. There you go. There you have it. You see? I still listen to that song today, in today's time. So, and I know of that version as well. D. Boudreau said, I read the US just targeted Houthi raider sites. Why is the international community not collaborating in response to their piracy? Something happened again? Supporters of God. US forces destroy Houthi raiders in Yemen that allowed Iranian-backed group to target commercial ships, CENTCOM says. I think I read something about that earlier today. Houthi rebels attack on Red Sea, crippling global trade, US intelligence warns. Yeah. As they should act. The thing is that the US has been pretty much fighting with the Houthis long before this war for many years in Saudi Arabia. By supporting Saudi Arabia against the Houthis. So the US has been involved very much against the Houthis for a long time, although people might not know very much about it. Godlike Snake says, did the Sunni and Shia split exist when the caliphate existed? If so, how was that managed? It came into existence very, very early.
Yeah, the caliphate ended in the 20th century. You had the Sunni Shia split shortly after Muhammad's death.
Yeah. It was a big problem, and the Shiites were very much persecuted by the Sunnis throughout much of the time. At certain points, they coexisted. At some points, the Shia actually took over for a very brief time and established its own caliphate, which was the Fatimi Caliphate. They generally didn't have a tendency to look for a caliphate. They had an imamate, or just a regular independent Shia state. But they did take over at certain points for very brief times, but they mostly were persecuted by the Sunnis, which is why, by the way, the Mahdi idea that a future savior would come and make things right was so popular among them, because they considered themselves the rightful ones who are oppressed by the wrong ones, the Sunnis. And this is also why taqiyya, which is the practice of lying about your beliefs, became very popular among the Shia Muslims and became actually a religious practice among the Shia Muslims to avoid being exposed and persecuted by the Sunnis. Okay, we're almost done, David. Keep it together. Cristiano Taku says, sorry, I'm slow. First super chat ever. Please consider discuss topic of snitching and lying. Exodus chapter 1 and 2. The midwives lied to Pharaoh and God blessed them.
No, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about, I don't even know how snitching became a new topic here. I will say, to be clear, there are, even though you don't want to snitch or lie, there are times when snitching would be justified, and there are times when lying would be justified. You have Christians who say, no, I would have, and you have philosophers like Immanuel Kant would say, no, there's never a time when lying is justified. As a real life example, when the Germans show up at your door and say, hey, do you have any Jews hiding in your attic? And you say, no.
Jews behind you?
And you say, no. I think you're justified. What? Well, lying is wrong. Yeah, well, so is handing over Jews to be executed by Nazis. So you have to think, okay, I have to do one or the other in this situation. I would consider the lying to Nazis to avoid giving them accurate information about killing Jews. I'd go with that one. I'd lie to the Nazis.
Are you hiding Jews in your attic?
Salam with bacon, mahi mahi barracuda.
I just...
Salam with bacon, mahi mahi barracuda. It's your favorite Hamas.
What? What did you say?
What?
Salam with bacon, mahi mahi barracuda. It's your favorite Hamas adjacent email.
What is he saying? Salam, bacon, barracuda. What is he saying?
I don't know, but I'm sure you're going to replay it 90 times to decode.
Mahi mahi barracuda. Salam with bacon, mahi mahi barracuda.
Salam with bacon, mahi barracuda. Barracuda.
Your favorite Hamas adjacent Imam IC, back to give you the cold, hard truth about the wonderful religion of Al-Islam. Tragedy struck recently as 4 descendants of apes and pigs were released from Islamic heaven on earth to
What's wrong with you?
I have to watch this. Islam Critiqued has done a good parody, as it seems. It's already making me laugh, and would suggest checking it out. God. Oh, man. Row Me Clips says, are you guys familiar with the red, green, brown strategy? It's a strategic alliance between Islamists, Marxists, and nationalists that was described by an essayist in the 2000s. That's basically the group opposing Israel now. It is true. They work together very well. I haven't heard of this being laid down as a strategy and described in that way, but they worked together in the past at certain points, and they work together again today, as it seems.
Yeah, there's a funny little cartoon I saw on Twitter. It's got like a Marxist LGBTQ, a jihadi, like someone else, and it's like at a pro-Palestine rally, and like the saying just says, well, this is awkward.
Yeah. And it's not the first time. During Nazi times, the Palestinian Arab Grand Mufti worked with Hitler and Mussolini, who worked with the Soviet Union until the Nazis, of course, broke the deal with the Soviet Union and then fought each other and stuff. That's how it works. That's what they do. Yop705 said, would love to know what mentally mature means when Muslims say Aisha was. She know how to start a fire or something. I know how to turn on a stove at 9. Doesn't that mean I'm mature to be with dusty old men? Yeah, as soon as you start saying gaga goo goo, you are basically mature and can be married. Yeah.
Yeah, if they say she was mentally mature, just ask what the heck they mean. I mean, she was playing with dolls. She was playing on a swing. She behaved very immaturely in various situations. What they really mean is they've absorbed some idea where Islam is good and therefore Islam must have waited or something like that. There's no evidence. Show us any evidence where that was any sort of criterion for these guys.
She actually talked clearly. We've
see?
seen that she talked.
Yeah,
so.
she learned how to use words.
Yeah, so she was mature. Brianna Joy Gray is partly responsible for ongoing recruitment of Palestinian child martyrs to drive Jews out of 1/8 of British Palestine. Yep, she is indeed. Should be ashamed of herself. Crusader General, all these useful idiots who side with the Palestinians have no idea that Muhammad has been ordered to off all mankind until everyone says there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. Yep.
How about no? I don't buy your Allah.
That's what everyone should say when they are attacked in this way. But this is a Muslim belief, and people don't know this. Arya, Indian here, talked to a pro-Palestinian friend who says Hamas is fighting for freedom from Israel, like how Indians did from British. How to counter it? We talked about it very much in this live stream. Just rewatch it. It's only 3 hours long, so no big deal.
Yeah, totally different situations there.
Yeah, Tiger Hogan, IDF should bump Kanye and Pink Floyd as hype music when they go on raids. WTF is Kanye gonna do about it? Imagine IDF Spec Ops montage with Ye track, LOL. Matt Silva, hey AP, is Turkish society really degenerate or is this a meme? I heard about some parties that will make the Brazilian carnival look mild. No. Turkish society is, I will describe it as, what's the word? Stuck up. I don't know, something. They're not at all comparable to Brazilian carnival. That's not comparable at all. Turkish society is very is confused, very confused. You can get beaten if you eat outside in Ramadan. So no, wouldn't compare.
It is indeed a garbage society. We'll all agree on that, right?
Yes. Urinating Broom said that even pro-Palestinian people are criticizing Adam Saleh in their Starbucks video as idiotic. LMAO, that video is terrible. It's some weird harassment. I want to check it out now just to laugh about it. Hello Yidi says, AP, my Syrian husband is a new fan of yours. Nice. I wish you could message with you. He's been through so much and is currently in Turkey as we work for a spousal visa. I'm Jewish and he's from a Muslim fam. Love to Daily Wire too. Huh. Hope everything goes well there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hope everything goes well there. Yes. All right, Daily Wire. I think we're done with the live chats, with the super chats. Anything else you want to say?
Something powerful.
Say it. Or be silent forever.
I forget.
What? All right. So tomorrow we're going to be live on your channel, ain't it?
Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's going to be dope. It's going to be way doper than this one.
So we'll be live tomorrow, and we'll be talking about Candace Owens. Just kidding. David doesn't want to talk about Candace Owens because she's black and a woman. He's like, I'm going to talk about women, especially not black.
I was planning to finally watch the Jordan Peterson versus Alex O'Connor discussion tonight. I'm anticipating they had some good parts in that, but I'll see if there is some cool stuff to discuss in there. We'll check some of that out. We'll also be looking at a couple of videos that have been that we've been asked to review. So we're going to check out some videos. But if the Peterson thing is boring, then we'll watch something else.
Which it most likely is.
No,
So
How about no?
So yeah, we'll be live tomorrow, and until then, as always, remember,
homosexuality should be fine.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Lose faith. I tell you, lose faith. It's better for you.
Or also, in other words, we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. And also, thanks for being here. And also,
stay away from Islam.
See?
You see.